My beautiful people, what is up, y'all? What is up? How are y'all? You guys, I'm in here again at the now I'm coming in here at the time that I should be sleeping. Let me let me see if I can go to my ooh, okay. This is why I don't like to put a topic yet because I low key wanted to talk about something else. I just thought about something else. Oh, okay. Let me change this topic. I don't know. See, I like to just flow. I don't like to have a topic, but I also don't like what restream the application I'm using. I don't like what they put in the subject line. So I need to find something that I put. Oh, hold on, I want to post on my YouTube. What should I put, y'all? Your girl is live now. Dang, but yeah, I just thought about I wanted to talk about Jada Pickett in jail right now. I mean, not jail. Um, going to court for a man that wants to take her to jail. Um, but but that wasn't the original topic. It just popped up as I was looking at something. Yes, yes, yes. So what is up, y'all? I missed you guys. I know I was live yesterday, but I mean like the continuousness that I haven't been doing as far as just seeing y'all on a regular basis. I have missed you guys. Um okay, so if you're in here, if you're watching me, you can give me a thumbs up. You can share an emoji. You can say what's up. You can let me know where you're watching me from. Any of those things. I want to hear from you. I want to interact with you guys. And I want to share with you guys what I mean by this topic that says raising feminist boys. hmm 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 And I'm eating a papaya, by the way. And this looks so good. I know this topic is triggering. I'm going to wait for more people to come in here before I get started, but I know this topic is triggering. It may not be what you think it is, but I wanted my idea to talk about it was because of the conversation I was just having with my boys that I have with them quite often. And I'm just waiting a couple more seconds because I normally have to repeat myself when people start coming in. And what I don't do well, if you've watched most of my videos, you know that I suck at eating and talking. Once I start talking, I can't eat. I try to do a video, I'll be uploading it soon, of a mukbang of me eating papaya and talking about, mm, I think I was talking about this Megan Thee Stallion thing. I said, I mean, I took one bite, and then the whole 40 minutes, I didn't eat at all. So I probably should get some of these bites out before we get started. But yes, 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 you guys, thank you for coming in. If you are watching me and you're gonna be here for a second, me from I need like what should my emoji be, y'all? What's an emoji that's my vibe? So I could be like, drop this emoji. Okay. So real quick, I'm probably gonna start with the topic that I originally thought of, and then I'm gonna go into the Jada Pickett thing. Um, we'll see. So raising feminist boys. I know that the term feminist is now a derogatory word. I wish people would research how that word, how the term feminist became derogatory, because it was around the time that women were fighting to be able to vote, and there were men that agreed that women should be able to vote. I don't think that people realize that there were men who agreed that it did not make sense for women to not be able to vote, that is weird. It wasn't a lot of men, but there were groups of men, and there was a larger group of men that didn't believe that women should vote, and those are the men that made the feminist movement be about, or they made the talk about it, like they made the judgment about it. There's even a particular guy you could look up, and people, like way back in the freaking 60s, talk about him doing like a smear campaign to. Oh, my mom's calling. Like a smear campaign for him to paint the feminist movement as a negative thing. This is aside from other reasons why you may think that it's a negative thing. So we're not going to get into like feminist movement or anything like that. I just want to, there's no other word that I could call this that's better, that could better describe what I'm going to explain to you, which is raising feminist boys, than using the term feminist. I just have to talk about the word feminist because it's such a derogatory term now, right? But you can, if you trust AI, if you trust Webster's dictionary, you can look up what the term feminist means, and it is not defined as a hate man group. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the true history. This is not emotional banter. The true history of what the feminist movement originated from, and what it was actually for. And so it was obviously for women's rights and women to have autonomy over their body, right? This is, if you actually care about the research, again, not talking about emotions, but that's just what the true factual historical history will show you, the that women really could not vote and really could not own properties 50 years ago and really could not work jobs. And so they really did fight for that. I don't care about, like, if we don't think that we should or we shouldn't have. We're not going to get into that. But I just wanted to touch on the term because I know that term is triggering for a lot of people. So raising feminist boys. Um, this is something that you're going to hear me talk about a lot because I'm raising feminist boys. And that is boys who are aware of the fact that women's autonomy and women's rights need to be protected, but um, more specifically, women's autonomy. Because as a birth worker, I'm someone who helps families give birth, and one of the things that I do in my birth practice is I train the fathers. I do not do a birth and don't include the father, because I think that's insane that we've done that. We have a long history of men waiting outside, and not even being present in the birth. And so I include men in the birth, I include men in the training, and I'm very big on making men know and feel like they are a part of the birth experience, because they really are. And from personal experience in my practice, my births that are faster, um, I guess you can say more successful, but just more ease, it's when the men are totally involved. I mean, they are present, they are there, they are not causing any issues. And as a birth worker, I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been doing this for 8 years, and and I you'll be surprised how many women get to the end of them about to give birth, to the end of their pregnancy, and they have to deal with, um oh, my brother's song is playing on the radio. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I think that's what my mom is calling to tell me. Oh my God, my brother's song is playing on the radio. Okay. So so hey Miss Sane 2. Miss Sane 2. That is what's up. Oh my God. My brother's song is playing on the radio, y'all. Okay. So yeah, I gotta get your name right. Miss Santu. Am I saying it right? Santu? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming in. So yeah, we're talking about raising feminist boys. And so yeah, talking about yeah, I was saying how many women are about to give birth and they have to deal with so much stress. I'm not even going to get into the crazy stories of things that happen when women are at the end of their pregnancy and the different dramas and stuff that they deal with their family and with their partner. But just to say that when it comes to raising what is raising feminist boys, it's men who know that they have to be advocates for their women because there is a thing that is not a conspiracy where women's bodies are controlled by the medical field. I'm not going to use the word man, even though we know who runs all the systems, who makes all the rules. There's a father of gynecology, not a mother of gynecology. Men, if you guys don't know what gynecology is, that's the study of women. And if you are a man and you're watching this and you don't know what gynecology is, that's why I'm talking about raising feminist boys. Because what happens with a woman's body is so big. It's such a big phenomenon. Like the fact that we have these 4 cycles that we go through, and according to science, according to biology, it's only 1 week that a woman has where her hormones have the capability. If she's taking care of her body, then her hormones have the capability of being balanced. It's only 1 week. This affects the whole world. Like we are with men, men love us, we have brothers, we have fathers, we have sons that care about us. Like women's bodies should be a it should be a world renowned subject. Like it's not about this is not about like giving women a pass and letting women, like this is not about that. This is the fact that it's just the fact that biology is real and women, our hormones are really going up and down, and our mood swings are affected, our emotions, how we feel about ourselves and our partners. And I like to use pregnancy as a good example because humans are really uneducated about hormones. Just let's forget that we're talking about pregnancy and women for a minute. For men and women, your hormones are important because your blood is important. And your blood is important because your hormones are important. These 2 things go hand in hand. And when you're a woman, you have blood issues from the very beginning because the truth is that your period is a hemorrhaging experience. It's a medical emergency. Some women are hospitalized, most women and girls are not. But if we're talking about the science of what a period is, it's a medical emergency because there's not a human or an animal that can lose that much blood and still be alive. So you're hemorrhaging, like bleeding that much, like just like if a woman gives birth and she's bleeding as much as we do on our periods, that's called an emergency because humans are not supposed to lose that much blood. So I'm not saying it's a literal emergency, although it can be. I'm saying that it's hemorrhaging. Your period is a hemorrhaging experience. And that experience itself takes you through all these different emotions after we give birth. We know that postpartum, I'm explaining hormones, right? Because your period only happens because of your hormones. I'm trying to give you like a crash course on this real quick. And then when you're pregnant, after you give birth, well, when you're pregnant, your hormones go up. So we see women crying, we see them having all these different emotions. You could be pregnant and vegan, all of a sudden you want pork. You could be a pork eater and then all of a sudden you want to be a vegetarian. Like so many things from our eating habits to the way we feel to the way we look. Everything is changing when we get pregnant because your hormone levels are changing again. It's another spike, just like it happens 3 weeks out of the month. So then after you have the baby, your hormones go down, they plummet, and you go into postpartum. And what happens here, a lot of women have thoughts of unaliving their children or their babies, unaliving themselves. It gets that extreme. This is coming from a birth worker. I really do help women with not having those thoughts after they give birth because their hormones are plummeting. And the way that I do this is by helping them to balance their hormones while they're still pregnant. This is how you help to prevent postpartum. Postpartum depression also is caused by the lack of support that women have, but that's another subject. So I'm just explaining how it's not a myth that our hormones do change the way we think and feel, and it's such a big thing that if you're a father or a brother or a husband and you have women that you care about, you do care about this. You do want to know certain phases. You do want to be aware of what could actually be going on. And so me as a boy mom, because I have one daughter and the rest of my children are boys, I talk to all my kids about this, and I specifically talk to my boys about a woman's body, and I talk to them about a man's body too, obviously, but I talk to them about the autonomy of a woman. I want for my boys to be strong advocates for their children's birth. I want for them to be brave enough to catch their babies if that's what they decide to do. I want for them to be aware of the things to look out for when it comes to their woman's forming diabetes and other blood issues that women so commonly get because we're pregnant. I want them to be aware of the fact that impregnating a woman is risking her life. And this is not a conspiracy. This is not a bash on men. If we understood, if women and men understood what birth is, you would see, again, coming from a birth worker, I say this all the time, birth is life or death. It's a life or death experience. Pregnancy and birth is a life or death experience because this is what we're, if you're a birth worker, you're dealing with bringing life into this world, and you're also dealing with death. You're dealing with your clients dying, and you're dealing with the client's babies dying. You're not going to be a birth worker 10 years plus and not deal with death. So pregnancy and birth is life or death. And raising feminist boys, again, if you're tapping in just right now and the word feminist is triggering you, I'm not talking about the very false derogatory definition that we have of feminism. If you look up Webster's dictionary definition, if you look up the history of women not being able to vote and not being able to own land or have jobs, that is what birthed the feminist movement. I'm talking about the actual thing of women not having control over their bodies and things like that. No conspiracy emotional stuff here, okay? I'm talking about facts. And so men, there's so many men that I see suffering. When I am coaching men, when I'm coaching my clients partners, a lot of those men, the majority of them, I would say, they express to me that they are scared, that they're freaking out because their woman is about to give birth and she's high risk, or she has diabetes, or he knows that she does not take pain well and she ain't really listening to me, like whatever kind of thing. It's so many different scenarios, and they be freaked out. And just because birth is scary, like it is, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's life or death. So I have not had a client, I mean, I have not had a family where I coached the man and he didn't go through, have like an emotional breakdown when I do the session on him and all that he's carrying and holding, just in life and for the family period, but specifically talking about this birth experience. When I'm dealing with a family where the man cares, like he cares about if his partner is going to get through this birth or not, and if the baby's going to be healthy or not. It's a lot of stress on men. And a lot of men don't know how to be advocates. They don't know nothing about birth. They don't know nothing about nothing. Men don't even know about getting a woman pregnant. They just getting women pregnant. You don't even know all of what that is and what that takes. A lot of men are getting women pregnant and just like, okay, you can just take the morning after pill, the plan B, and men and women don't know how much that messes up our hormones. So you're already, if you're taking anything, again, what I said in the beginning, Hormone issues are blood issues. Blood issues are hormone issues. They are one and the same. We should call blood and hormones whore blood, okay, or blood moons, okay? They should be called blood moons because they're the same thing. Scientists, doctors just separate it so that we don't understand this stuff. But I'm giving it to you easy and raw here. And when it comes to that, it's so many different fluctuations, so many things. When women, we have PCOS, we have fibroids, cysts, endometriosis. There's another one I'm missing, but PMS, it's like one more. All these are hormone issues. All these are blood issues. After a woman has a baby, if she doesn't develop diabetes or some other blood issue while she's pregnant because her hormones did a spike because she got pregnant, then if she has my theory, honestly, and I feel like scientists are going to be saying this in a few years, my theory is that if she has 3 kids or more, she's going to have some type of thing with her blood. She's going to be experiencing varicose veins. She's going to be experiencing hemorrhoids. That's a blood issue. People don't know that that's a blood issue. That's not a anal issue or something. That's a blood issue. She's going to be experiencing vertigo. Like, this is the thing. She's going to have diabetes. This is really like, it's life or death. It's really that serious. I'm just talking about pregnancy because that's a time that a lot of men do end up suffering from not being able to advocate and being able to save and help and support their women. Even here in Senegal, they have a movement. It's not doing as much as it was when I first moved here, but there's men doulas, and they're becoming doulas because they want for their women to live through the birth. Like, this is a big thing. We need feminist men. We need men who care about the fact that women don't have control over our bodies and that we're extremely miseducated about how to take care of our bodies. We need men to just understand our bodies, the body that they came from, and they're always trying to get in. We need y'all to care about that, okay? Because it makes a world of a difference. It goes into, like, forget the pregnancy and the anatomy of stuff. It goes into just understanding, like just understanding certain things. You can have a woman that you know more about her body than she knows, and that's going to be helpful. That's still going to be helpful. Like, a lot of women do not know half the stuff that I talk about when it comes to our bodies and stuff. Most of us don't even know that our cycle is not a period. Most of us don't even know that the period is just a phase in the cycle, and we really do have 4 cycles. Most of us can't name all the cycles. Like, this is a huge thing. Like, just the world is completely uneducated about something that really does affect us on every level. It really, really does. If you care about the balance of feminine and masculine, if you care about men being heard and men healing and whatever else you feel like men don't get and don't get to have, or if you care about women not being heard and women, all the things with women, then you care about raising feminist boys. And as women, we can't be complaining. I mean, technically we can, because we do have a right. Women have a right to be angry. I don't tell women, as I don't agree or condone hating men and those kind of things. I don't never tell a woman, no, don't be angry with men. No, don't hate men. I don't think that nobody on the planet should be saying that to women, because it's just factual that unless women have been fighting for centuries for totally nothing, they just been making it up, and women are just completely delusional. There's a reason for women speaking up in all over the world. There's a feminist movement happening everywhere. Here in Senegal, here, there, and everywhere. In Gambia, they're doing their own thing about I almost said the word, about being assaulted and all types of things. So there's just a lot of that, and it's just one of those things that women, at the same time, you are raising the boys as well. Some of us are doing it by ourselves, and that's not a woman's fault, as much as we make it seem like it's the only fault is the woman. But without getting into all of that, you're raising the boys. You can make a difference. You have power. There's no reason why you should be aware of how disconnected men are from our bodies, and you're not actively teaching your boys about women's bodies. Why not? How come like how come men and women don't think it's important for a man to be in a powerful position when his child is about to be birthed, when the woman is definitely in a weak position? She's in a weak position really the whole damn time she's pregnant. That makes me think about Cardi B when she was on trial, and the lawyer, when she was on trial for this last thing and she was pregnant, and the lawyer was like, so you he's a male lawyer. He was like, so you're saying like you were disabled when you were 8 months pregnant or something. And he was like, how are you disabled? And she was like, hello, like she was like, I'm pregnant. Like she was like, you want me to tell you how many things I can't do? Like, and everybody started laughing, but that's real. Like if you're a woman and you've been pregnant, you can relate to that. You're not going to question disability. We have our ligaments going out, we got all types of stuff going on whenever we're pregnant. A lot of us get HG. Like me, I'm literally bed rested. I don't even know how I have 4 kids because I'm sick most of the time that I'm pregnant with them. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And we're really extremely miseducated. And without getting into like the emotions of things, if we just focused on the anatomy and like what goes on with a woman's body, I know this sounds crazy because it doesn't even sound like it's connected to the same subject. But so much of the like gender war things and so much of this stuff would dissipate. And it's not about like, oh, it's about, letting women get a pass. Oh, they're going to get away from, like, it's not even about that. It's about men. You're not in a powerful position if you love women. Now, those of you men who don't love women and you don't want to love a woman, okay, fine. This is not for you. Just go to another video. But the ones of you who care, there's literally men out here who are single dads because their women gave birth and lost their lives giving birth. So now they're raising that baby and the other kids and or the other kids. This is common, guys. It's becoming such a normal thing. There's a whole movement in Atlanta about it. So it's a real thing, and it doesn't have to be that extreme. We don't have to be talking about pregnancy at all, but there's so many things that women deal with our bodies. I was just showing my boys this video. I forgot what you call it, but the women who go through their periods through their hands or through their eyes or through their nose. This is literally having your menstruation, your bleeding once a month through different places where your endometrial line has grown. That's crazy. Like, did you hear what I just said? Yes, I just said what you thought I just said. And that is really a thing. Women are literally going through their periods outside of their uterus. It's called endometriosis. One in every 10th woman experiences it. She's going to deal with really painful periods. She's going to have uncomfortable sex. This affects men. Like, this is a thing. If even without the sexual part, he's still affected because he's the one that has to be here and endure this woman that has really off hormones and really, really bad periods. So it's just like we're talking about medical situations that happen all the time, every single month. How are we so miseducated about it? How are we so disconnected from it? It's really crazy, but we need to raise feminist boys who are advocates for their children, who can catch their babies. Men need to catch their babies. Why not? That's a beautiful thing. You know how disconnected men feel from the birth experience? Men can't breastfeed, men can't carry the baby. They need to be able to catch their babies. This is and was the original way before things got out of hand. It's a really cool, good, powerful thing. And women will tell you, the women that have been able to give birth at home or even in the hospital naturally, they will tell you how much their men um, feel so empowered about this experience that they were able to catch their babies. My ex he talks about Kosa's birth every year because he was there able to catch his baby and able to really go through that experience. It the same way that women, that it's a rites of passage for women, it's a rites of passage for men. There's nothing that we deal with besides like maybe having a loved one who is like on who could who's going through a life or death situation where they're in the hospital and they're like maybe in a coma, or they might be dying or living, and we don't really know what's happening. That's the only thing that is identical to what happens when a woman gives birth, as far as where a man and a woman's and a birth worker, where our heads are, because we don't know what's going to happen. We can be as positive as we want, but the truth is this is a scary thing. You're just not supposed to have the fear there, but you don't know. So it's a huge thing. And our disconnection from it is like, come on, y'all. Let's lock in, okay? Let's lock in. And the men that we complain about as women, these men who don't know about our bodies and don't consider or not emotionally available, even. So that's another aspect of raising feminist boys, men that are not emotionally available. One thing my 18-year-old said to me last year, so he was 17, and he came to me and he thanked me for allowing him to express himself, like for creating a safe space where we can talk and he can cry and he can express himself and we can have the difficult conversations. And I was like, oh my God, this right here. Hey, hey, what's up? Please let me say your name right. If I say Alsan, because there's Alsans here. Am I saying it right? Let me just get it right now. Like, I think the name that you gave me on our call was completely different though. But I need to get what I'm going to call you. Okay. I was thinking about that after our live. I said, you know what? Let me get this together and not be addressing you as the wrong name. But yeah, so yeah, and so my son saying thank you for creating a safe space, because if you guys don't know, my oldest son is on the spectrum. He has Asperger's, and this means Asperger's, if you're not familiar, it means that you have social anxiety, you have a problem speaking up and expressing yourself. I could literally break down in tears right now with the gratitude and the joy that I have with how successful I have been able to combat something that is in my son's brain. Like Asperger's, being on the spectrum, is not something that you can just whoosh away. It's really in his nervous system and in his brain. And him reaching the age by 17, 18, and he doesn't have, even though he definitely still deals with social anxiety with people, he is able to express himself and he is able to lead conversations. He's able to he's comfortable in his masculinity with expressing his feelings and processing them. And that's something that a lot of men cannot do. When we're talking about violence on this earth that is predominantly done by men, we're not talking about men that are just, oh, these men are just messed up, these men. We're talking about men that are humans, that deal with pain and things that haven't been able to process them. Men that don't cry. Most of the men in your life, or you if you're watching this as a man, but most men in your life don't even cry. Like they can literally name how many times they've cried. The heterosexual men that I guide and that, my clients, or the heterosexual men that I'm friends with, the majority of them, because I asked all of them, I'm not even gonna say the majority of them, every single one of the men that I personally know, they know the dates. Like they can tell you the years. Like I cried, the last time I cried was 2017. It was like they literally know how many times they cried, because men don't be crying. Men don't be expressing themselves. Men don't be talking. And the natural response for men after you guys hear women say this is that women won't allow y'all to. But I'm just going to stop you right there, because I'm not talking about men not expressing and talking to women. I'm talking about men not expressing and talking to men. I'm talking about men not expressing and talking to themselves. This is not a woman thing. Women, we have healing circles. We heal, we talk, we cry. We are extreme in our in dramatic in our expressions, in our feelings, and getting out our guilt and the things that we are shamed about. Men do not do this, and this is not a woman's problem. If you are a history buff like me, I like history and I read history. So I read more history than just Black slave history. I read Native American history, history from other places that people that are not even Black. And what you find, a clear pattern that you find throughout humanity in our history is, I need y'all to meet me here, okay? Because this is not gonna, it's not gonna sound right because we're in different times. So I need y'all to use your imagination. Back in the days, war was a common thing in almost every part of the world. Just men going to war, men being in war, villages, tribes, war, right? And while this was happening back in the day, I know it sounds crazy for our 11-year-olds and 13-year-old boys to be preparing for war, but back in the day, it was normal. And when your son turned 10, back in the 1500s, the 1700s, the 1800s, 1900s, when they turned 10, 11, 12, like they were being prepared for war. The whole men don't cry, men don't express themselves, you got to be a man, you can't cry. Women did not start that, guys. It started from us having a culture of war where you have to, if you know your son's going to go to war, you better make sure your son is tough. You better make sure he's not crying, because this is a natural thing for him to be going to war. It's sick, it's crazy, but this is the history of humanity. Okay, let me read your comments. From France, hey, hey. My parents say Alsem, Alsem, but most people pronounce Alsim. Okay, Alsim. In African cultures, crying is forbidden. Listen, baby. Don't get me started on the Africans and the emotions, the disconnection. Don't get me started. Because the way that Americans romanticize, the way that Black Americans specifically, because Americans do not romanticize Africa, but Black Americans who are woke, we romanticize African culture. We romanticize African families. Something about me that my mama, who might be watching this live, can tell y'all is that I am very observant. Since I came through the womb, I am I am the observation vessel for that's just my thing. Like I pay attention to things and I calculate and I learn from the things that I see. So living in Senegal for 5 years now, and just being how my brain is, like I'm always thinking psychology. This is something I've been obsessed with since I was a kid. And one thing that I definitely have inferred and concluded about African families is that they have a level of disconnection, just like Black people do in America, just like we do, but it is on another level. It is not the same. And as much as we romanticize, there's things that make it look like they don't. Like, for example, in African marriages, and especially African Muslim marriages, the families are very involved. The parents are damn near the people who say if y'all gonna stay together or y'all gonna be together or y'all gonna not be together. They're so involved. They're that involved. So for a Black woke American person, it's like, oh wow, man, this is the problem. And I've seen this so many times. This is the problem with our marriages. We don't have no family involved. Da, 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 da. But on the flip side and on the real side, on the realistic side, what's really happening in most of these African families is control and manipulation. And the moms are really toxic. And it's a lot of selfishness going on. And it's like, it's crazy to witness. It's so crazy to witness. But I'm just using that as an example so you can see how much something can look like something and it's not. Africans really have a way of like over positivity, like trying to be positive when it comes to like grief, when it comes to struggle or anything. And maybe it's a survival thing, but it really makes them disconnected, and it makes them where they just don't have conversations. We don't have conversations either, but sometimes we will, sometimes we do. They don't ever have in deep conversations. There is no coming to your mom or your African mom or dad and talking about your feelings and talking about your depression. Like, you know how we joke about that in American homes, and we be like, oh, they don't care about that. If I say I'm depressed, my mama gonna say, you better depress them dishes. You know, like we literally joke about this. In an African home, baby, cha, it's on another level. It's on another level. And I have, again, just as a psychology buff, like dealing with stuff, even when my sister passed away, like the reaction that I've got from my African friends, I was just like, wow, like they're trying, they're doing what they think is a positive thing, but there's such a disconnection. There's such a disconnection from emotion, and there's such a attachment of not showing emotion and not being emotional that it's so disconnected. Like, I don't even know if that makes sense, but it's bad. It's serious. Let me read what else I'm said. Romanticizing African families is so hilarious because so many Senegalese people are divorced. Listen, don't get me started. Listen now. I was supposed to do a video on this. You about to make me do the video right now. Because the divorce rate, that goes right into what I was just saying with the marriage and the families and stuff. Exactly that. Because we also think that we should be like, well, it's what I said. We think that we should be doing marriages like how we see it here. And y'all just don't know that people in especially the Muslim African countries, but just period, they are getting married really young. They're getting married in their early 20s. And the way that you can just divorce someone in the same year, in the next few months, divorce rate is probably the highest. It's got to be the highest in the world in on this continent, or at least one of the highest. It's definitely not higher than America's divorce rate. It can't be. It's impossible. You've never seen divorce like you've seen it. And I'm telling y'all, this is not a conspiracy. Like I have Senegalese friends who be like, yo, like I went out of my way to not get married because I don't want to make it to my 30s and be married 4 times, because that's normal here. It's so normal. It's just amazing how these differences are, and we just be romanticizing stuff. Africans romanticize American culture too. That, well, our culture ain't nothing to be romanticizing. I mean, I love being Black American. You know, it has its perks and things. As far as just every culture, you know, you would feel like you might have perks with your own culture because you love your culture, but our culture is nothing to be, romanticizing either. It's like I tell my kids, like it's not even that men, low key, this is not a true statement, but it is. It's not even that men are messed up or women are messed up. It's it's adults, okay? It's humanity. It's what I've known since I was a child. The adults are whack. Like they're out of whack. I mean, like wacky, like crazy. As much as I hate religion, so many Senegalese people use God to cope. They definitely disregard their disregard their problem by saying it's God's way. Yes, it's very true. But you see this in every culture, in every country where religion is a big thing. You're going to see this is two things that you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of dismissing, a lot of just, oh, well, that's just God's will. And you're going to have a lot of secrets. In the religious culture, this is not a conspiracy, guys. This is, I mean, you can ask anybody who grew up in a church. Like, you're going to have a bunch of secrets. It's going to be a bunch of things going on, people being harmed, assaulted, and stuff. And it's just going to be such a big, like, oh my God, we had no idea this was that. Like, how did you not know? It's happening almost everyone in here. I have a friend that I grew up with. We've been friends since we were like 11 or 12. This is one of my best friends, and she was telling me she grew up in the church, very strict church home. She was telling me just 2, 3 weeks ago that her and her the church members were having a group call, and she was like, "Dayla, everybody on the call was assaulted by somebody in the church." She was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you are following a practice that says something that says, don't judge, go with the truth. The truth, I am the way, the truth is the way. And then you do the complete opposite. You actually are very judgmental and you tell a bunch of lies, and that's the norm. It's the norm to just brush it away and just look perfect. You know, one thing, this again, it happens in our culture, it's very prevalent. But going back to the African thing, one thing that's really big on this continent is like, specifically in more, when you see it in more religious countries, which what African country is not a religious country? Like, most African countries are heavily religious, I think. But you'll see oh, dang it, almost, I think I lost it. Let me see. Did I lose what I was about to say? You'll see dang, I lost it. It's gonna come to me. Damn it. I gotta write stuff down when they come. Okay, let me read your comment. It's gonna come, guys. I don't know anyone in my family who stayed married. The problem is they get married within weeks. Yes. They get married. Like, it's low key. I was just talking to my homeboy about this literally 3 days ago, because he's dealing with it. He just got married and got divorced in less than a year, and he's Muslim. And um I was telling him, I was like, we've been complaining about, as Americans, we complain about how hard it is to get a divorce, and how like our government has so much control over it that it's not that easy. Like in Oklahoma, you're supposed to, you be mandated to go to therapy before divorce, which is like low key unfair if you're being abused or something, right? Like going to therapy with your abuser that didn't want to go to therapy, you know? So there's its own thing there. But on the flip side, when you experience what I've seen here in this culture and in more African cultures, it's like, damn, maybe y'all need a little bit of rules that say, wait a minute, you just can't wait a minute. Wait a minute, you just got married. Wait, don't go yet. Cause y'all, these marriages be turning over like hotcakes. It is ridiculous. And it's so sad when religion is the thing, because, oh, that's what I was gonna say. I knew it was gonna come, because the thing is like, they get married so quick, because not because it's blasphemy and it's haram to be having sex when you're not married. It's really because everybody's going to be looking at you. It's everyone knows that you're not supposed to be having a partner and being in a relationship, because you're supposed to be married, because we assume that you're having sex, and so you got to be married. That's why these young people are getting married like this in these African cultures, because it's not because they're thinking that God is looking at them. A lot of times they are already being sexually active, literally. I don't think I've met anyone that was married and it was really like the whole virgin thing that they be putting on women and stuff, because that's a whole different subject on their marriages here. But it's because they're going to be judged. And so what I was going to say was, in African cultures, a lot of the way that Africans move when it comes to the whole disconnecting from emotions and all that stuff, it's about what things look like. It's about not shaming the family, not, not embarrassing the family, not embarrassing me. So it's like, you don't end up getting the genuine part of a person, or the person accepting you, because what they're so focused on is that somebody is not judging them, that their family is not talking about them. A lot of gossip. Like, Africans have a big thing about gossip, and it gets way deeper than that. Like, they also don't even, because there's a lot of people that do magic, that is very common for everyone to know about that. So they don't want to do people talking on you, period. Like, they're afraid about that. They're afraid about someone hexing them. So it gets really deep. And I see this already in our own culture. I already know and can, talk about personal experiences within my own family, my own culture, of when the priority is embarrassment and what we're going to look like as a family, instead of actually handling the thing and, doing the thing. So it's already a bad thing in our own culture, but it is another level. It is another level here. There are women here. I experienced this even talking to a Senegalese dude, like deciding, I mean, not Senegalese, he wasn't Senegalese, he was Cameroonian, he was still African. And I experienced like me deciding if I want to be with this dude or not. And him, one of my deciding factors being no, being that we couldn't really handle our problems and our situations because he was someone who is like known and liked in the community. And so whether you are or you're not, even in your little circle as Africans, he wanted to put on, like, having that kind of energy and that whole concept that I just broke down. You put on a lot. It's a lot of fake shit going on. So if we have a problem, and the problem, we could be in the middle of handling it, or maybe we're not, but then it's like someone comes around, or you want to go around the people because you want to put on. So it's like we can't actually get to the bottom of the problem because you're being fake. This is a thing for real, y'all. Like in African homes, like, again, in our homes as well. But I'm just saying, what I'm based off of my observation, I had never been around Africans like that. And now I am fully emerged. I'm here, okay? I didn't come here from the diaspora and live in a hotel for a year and, anything like that. Like, I'm here really immersed in the culture from the hour that I was here. No sugarcoating. So I really know what I see. Let me read some of the comments. I don't know anyone. Okay, right. Oh my gosh, I thought the secrets was just my family. No, I told my homeboy the other day, I said, I need to be doing videos on this. I said, boy, we need to talk about some stuff. I need to learn Wolof, okay? It's a reason why I just am not getting that language, because if I spoke Wolof, you already know that if I spoke Wolof, I would be famous out here, right? Because you know that everybody would be watching my stuff. You just know what the culture is and how the energy is here. Like, people that have been here, you know that if you're someone else, if you're from a different culture and you can speak their language, period, that's a thing. But just in Senegal specifically, they would be on me if I could speak Wolof. And the things that I have to share, they would probably also kick me out. And me and my Senegalese friends joke about this. I'd be like, I ain't trying to get kicked out, and I think that the universe knows that, and that's why I just haven't been fluent. I need to really I needed it to be this. I needed to be immersed in the culture and see the culture and feel the culture without being able to communicate it to the culture, because I really get it. Like, this is, like, I'm a part of the culture. This is home for me. So I just have a different way of me even speaking about it because of that. Like, and another thing is that I didn't romanticize it before I came here. Most Americans do. So you'll see them be shocked into what they thought was the perfect families and the perfect, I don't know why we think that. We got this image of Africans like always in this village setting, being a kumbaya fam, like singing African psalms together, and like, I don't know, but they're human too, guys. They're human too. One of my exes was like, is gay people out there? I'm like, bruh. If I did a whole video on the things that Americans say about Africa, y'all would not believe me. Y'all would not believe the emails and the messages that I get of the assumptions that we have. It's really amazing. We're all human, guys. That's all. That's it. Okay, let me read some comments, y'all. They are in competition with each other to see, yes, who can raise the most successful child. Yes, oh my God, that's it. That is it. That's why there is so much gossip. Yes, it is an obsession to raise the perfect, most successful child. And to the point where Africans don't have dreams. Like, you can't focus on your dream. You got to focus on the degree or whatever path that your parents said that you get to go down. This is a common dialogue that I have with all my Senegalese friends, with all my African friends. There's a lot of Africans that are here that's not from Senegal. One of my homeboys, he ended up moving to Canada, but we were going to do a podcast together because he's really good at combing through these kind of things, and we would talk about this, and he would be like, a dream, like a passion, like what's that? Like you can't focus on that in an African home. Like that's not important. And it's literally because of what you just said here, their obsession with raising a successful child. It's sick. I'm not gonna lie. It is actually sick. And I'm not saying this to be like against Africans or to speak against Africans. Like I speak against everything that is unjust. Okay, I talked about the avocado cartel 10 years ago when people were being unalived for avocados in New Mexico. I mean, in Mexico. Okay, I talk about whatever is unjust. Okay, so this is not like this is not like a thing on Africans, but it is the truth. Okay, it is the truth that we don't like to talk about. So that is real. I be like, yo, there's a lot of toxicity going on that, and the thing that's so sad about it, I've seen a very little bit of this, but it's happening at the slowest rate that anything is happening. And it is that it's that there's no talk about it. Like it's like how I see Africa, and yes, the whole continent, how I see Africa is how like where Americans as a whole, where we were 50 to 100 years ago, as far as talking about mental health, talking about our issues, equality, those kind of things. I see Africa doing it, but it being in the future. It's going to be a part of the whole new earth thing. Like it is definitely going to come through then, but I mean, like as we peek through that, if you guys have seen me talk about the procession of the new earth and stuff, but it is a huge thing where they're where we were. They're not even talking about, like, you can't talk about mental health is crazy. One of the first debates I had with one of my homeboys here was I don't want to say the word on here because YouTube be flagging you for words, but the word of you unaliving yourself, that rate happening here. And he was telling me that it doesn't happen. His argument was that it doesn't happen in Senegal and it doesn't really happen in Africa. And I had to pull up, I never even researched this. I just know life, okay? I just know the world. I know humans, okay? I know the psyche. So I'm like, what do you mean? Of course the rates are lower than America. Okay, that wasn't the argument, that wasn't the comparison. But he was just like, like we don't take things that serious. You guys are going through it just as seriously. Wasn't it just like 2 months ago, a Senegalese man literally blew his pregnant wife's head off? Like he shot her in the face. What type of situation could that have been? Could they have been in where that needed to happen? That's most likely, definitely mental health. It's everywhere. And going back to the original subject about raising feminist boys, is what I was saying in between there about the problem is that men are not communicating, men are not expressing, men are not talking about their issues. Even with what we're talking about with African cultures, the women are still having their circles where they are speaking more and they are expressing more. Women are always doing that on a higher degree than men ever have. And that's not a bash on men. That is me defending and protecting men. Like men, you want this, okay? You want someone advocating for you, for your group, not not expressing yourself and suppressing your emotions. It's funny how this conversation gets so quickly turned into women don't let us express stuff and did like we ain't talking about that. We talking about how you just don't do that. Okay? Like I was telling my homeboy last night, we was having this conversation, and I was telling him how, as someone who as a former wife, I was married for almost 10 years and I've counseled so many married couples. I know for a fact that there's this thing when you're married that you want to find. Now this might not be anything in Senegal or a lot of African countries, because men do fellowship here. The men do come together here and they have time to do that. But in America, our men don't talk to each other unless you get lucky and your man just so happen to have a healthy group of male friends. yo man, you're his friend. You're his best friend. And I just remember as a wife, and again, counseling other wives and other marriages, we be desperate for our men to get a friend. Like I remember going around communities and even the church, like, hey, like, you trying to team up? You want to do a double date? Like, like, and me and the wives are like, plotting so that our husbands can come together and be friends, so that our husbands can have someone to express something to, because he doesn't have another man to talk to. It's not about y'all talking to us. It's about y'all talking to each other. That's what's needed. That is very needed. Okay, I'm gonna read some comments, y'all. Sorry. We have so much pent up shame across the diaspora from both slavery and colonialism. My grandmother's grandmother was born enslaved, and I asked her, "Is she ever, if she ever talked about it?" I don't even want to read the end of that. Oh my God, it's so true. And as someone who does this work, and my profession is healing and showing people that their physical and mental diseases, yes, I said physical, all of our conditions, none of them are birthed through junk food. None of them happen through junk food. They all happen from us holding on to something, not forgiving someone, holding on to a shameful thing that you did, that you were judged by, or holding on to something that someone did to you, a trauma, just a long list of things. This is literally what I do. So to know that, and even just for you to reflect that back to me, what I know, and I try to teach so much, and I think most people just really don't believe that. We really aren't on that level yet to understand that our diseases don't come from junk food. The junk food just feeds it. The sugar and everything just feeds it. But the reason why someone can have a really unhealthy diet and be healthier than a vegan, healthier than someone who is eating a balanced diet, is because it's about what you're holding on to. And in Tai Chi, Chinese medicine, in Ayurvedic medicine, there's a lot of ancient practices that understand this and that still teach this today. But of course, Western medicine is just not allowing us. I'm like, it's just not allowing us, like it's stopping us, but we're just not there yet, guys. But we are getting there. You're so right about this, though. Um, on so many levels, this is true because I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So for those of you who don't know, that's where the massacre took place. It's not a riot like we were taught. It was a massacre. In 1921, this is where Black Wall Street, which was the wealthiest town owned by Black people in the world. It was not just the wealthiest town owned by Black people in our state or in our country. It was in the world. Like New York Times has this, in this is you can find an old headline in New York Times of them talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like everyone wrote about it. It was a huge thing. We had our own airports, we had our own schools, all these things. And it was all destroyed in one night, um, because a Black man was on the elevator with a white woman, and the white woman said that he was attacked. And the white men, the government in Tulsa, did what was very normal for them to do, which was post in the which was to obviously put him in jail first, but then to post in the headlines and in the news the next day that they were going to lynch him, because they would announce the lynchings. And so they announced that they were going to lynch him. And Tulsa, Oklahoma, a very brave people came together and said, no, we're not doing this no more. We're not about to just let y'all lynch him. We're going to fight against that happening. And they went to the courthouse. I'm giving y'all like a really quick rundown of the story. Went to the courthouse, tried to stand up for him. They actually ended up getting him out of jail because they came down there with their rifles and all that stuff, and they did get him free. But then about 2 o'clock in the morning, that next morning, white people from other states, even not even just from Tulsa, they came from other places like KKK members. They all came and they raided this little town. I used to own my house in this neighborhood. It's just like a few streets. this little black town. And this is the time that this was the first time that America ever dropped bombs from the air. Okay, I want y'all to process that. The first time that our country ever dropped bombs from the sky was on a small black town in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because a white woman was on the elevator with a black man and supposedly was assaulted or whatever. This is the real story, guys, that people don't ever really tell. And we went through a lot of trauma. I can't even say the things that actually was happening. I'm not even going to get flagged for all the details, but there were thousands of homes that we had there. We had our own doctor's office and hospitals, our own schools. There was nothing standing. There was nothing standing the next day. Not a home, not a market, nothing was standing the next day. Everything was destroyed. And every single one of those black people, I'm on live. But every single one of those black people got their houses, the insurance claims were denied. So not one person got an insurance claim approved, and they every life just changed after that. So when we talk about that suppressed trauma, like what you just said, like what we end up holding on to as a people, it's deep. It's deep because we're just talking about a little bitty town holding on to things. This is Ish, guys. If y'all haven't seen Ish,
I'm not doing this video.
you're in the video. So you decided to get in the video. So you're in the video. But yeah, that's real. We have a lot of that and no one talks about it. We carry such a pain and we carry such a pain and internalized self-hatred that we don't even know. Yeah. We really, really do. And we just spit it out to each other. Unfortunately, we end up wounding each other. What's up, Ish?
Nothing much. I just didn't want to do this with you.
Do what? Y'all, this is what's happening right now. Is that Ish, like, it seems like I attract people like this in my life. We have this problem, okay? It really ain't a problem. It's the world has a problem, but we are nocturnal beings. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, y'all. This is when I get all my energy. I've been like this my whole life. And so every day we be like, okay, like we're gonna go to bed. We're gonna like tomorrow we gonna hit it. We gonna be up in the morning. We gonna create. We gonna do this. And then tomorrow comes and we still up. The good thing is that we are being proactive. Okay, I'm on here interacting with you guys. If I'm not doing this, I'm editing or something, but it's just like something about after midnight that you just get this rush. And he over here trying to act like I have anything to do with him staying up, talking about I'm not about to do this with you. You coming in here talking about I'm not about to do this with you. It's crazy. How many of you guys are like this? People are like, I did a whole research about people that are like this, like Nikola Tesla, Einstein, some of the world's biggest geniuses were nocturnal. And it's just something about nighttime when you really, I'm over here doing push-ups and everything. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, my workouts would start at this time, at 2 a.m. It's not normal. We're not normal people. It's something. Now, for me, I don't know if this is happening for Ish, but I know for a fact that for me, I channel at this time. Maybe this is happening for these people and y'all just don't know it, but I know for a fact I've gotten confirmation that I'm channeling at this time, especially if I end up staying up till like 8 o'clock in the morning. If I end up staying up till 8, that's what that's for. It's horrible. I'll explain more if y'all want to know more about that, but the old podcast. Yeah, my Earth to School podcast. I'm gonna relaunch it. I plan on relaunching it. I do plan on having my whole setup and relaunching it. My uncle committed, so that is definitely untrue. Right. You going to sleep?
I'm not doing this video, bro. I'm
My,
bad.
you so fake. You about to be up till 8. You might as well just stay up
For real.
until we have to go to
For
the
real.
office. My family ended up telling people he
The
was.
only problem is that
You need to cook something. My family ended up telling people he was shot. Just wow. Oh my God. Are you serious? Oh my God. That is so much. Wow. That definitely is a thing. I haven't seen that I haven't seen that in our culture for that type of situation, but I have seen that for when our people, just recently, I've seen this a lot actually, when our people will pass away from overdose and the family is ashamed, so they won't actually tell what it is. And that really sucks because then we're not raising awareness about something that's really happening. But dang, that is crazy. That is just that means that your will to create this false image, this perfection image is just that's what you worship. If you doing stuff like that, that's what you worship. That's really your God. Your God is really putting on like being being fake in the sense. That's what that is. Tulsa was most definitely a massacre. My bad. Oh dang it, it's going too slow. A massacre and genocide. Yes, it really was. And talk about me being born and raised there for, I was raised between Tulsa and LA, but I spent a lot of my life in Tulsa. And I remember when my father came, my father's from Tulsa, but he moved away when he was younger. And he came to visit me in Oklahoma one time. And I remember him taking me through North Tulsa, Oklahoma, and telling me the story of what happened. And I might have been like 12, between like 12 and 14 when this happened. And it's so crazy. When I became an adult, I was going to school for psychology, and in school we had to do an assignment about where we're from, and something about like you needed to get all the details, like the history, the region, like it was something about the psychology, kind of like what we're talking about right now, but you had to like get the history of that place. And this is how I found out that my dad completely told the story so wrong. And this is so dangerous because he didn't do this on purpose. This is how he was told. For a long time, the story that y'all know about Tulsa was not told. Like somebody wrote a book like 20 years ago, and that's when they started to protest that it should not be called a riot because it literally legally was documented as a riot. This was not a riot situation. When you're asleep in your bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and you get a bunch of people coming and raiding in your house, that's not a riot. That's just a massacre. And my dad told the story as if there were looting. Is it called lootering or looting? Like, and like a lot of like what do you call that when people are like, when there's a riot and people are like going into the stores and like taking the TVs and doing stuff like that. He told the story like it was a riot. So in my mind, I have this idea from whatever age that was to adulthood that when I hear about the Tulsa riot, it's a riot because that's what it used to be called. Again, it's only been the last like 6 years, y'all. Even when I found this out as an adult, we were not calling it the massacre. I remember going to school and finding this out and being like, we need to change the name. Why are we calling this a riot? So that was 14 years ago when I found this out, and we still weren't calling it what it actually is. We had to fight for the name to be changed just a few years ago. There's still things unraveling about the Tulsa massacre, but yeah, it's so deep. Um, I am as well. I love the nocturnal schedule. Yeah, it's it's crazy. And I've been like this my whole life. Like I'm still friends with a lot of my childhood friends. They will tell y'all we would be doing sleepover and everybody getting sleepy at 1, 2 a.m. And I'm like, you guys, we should get up and walk around. We should go jump on the trampoline. We should make up a dance. Like that was always me. this is when I get my energy. I literally be drained in the daytime. Like even if I do sleep, like let's say I go to sleep at 10 o'clock, I just don't be having energy in the daytime. I just want the daytime for me is if I could live life like I really want to, if society didn't make us have to go off of this 6 o'clock to 5 p.m. schedule where everybody has to do it at the same time. And in society's defense, society is just man, but in man's defense, the sun does come up, and it does make sense for us to come up with the sun and to go down with the sun. That does make sense. Okay. Yes, I agree with that. But there's some special things about being nocturnal and about staying up late. There's some things that happens with the chemicals of our brain. You just you just get deeper at this time. You just get deeper. Just your experience of this reality just has a different level of introspection. And another way people say that too is the freaks come out at night. Some people also believe, like even channelers and people that see the dead, that they talk about spirits coming out at night in between those hours because that's when people are usually asleep. So there's a lot of things that happen during this time. But yeah, I get my energy here. Now, when I talked about me channeling, again, I don't know if I've been like this my whole life because I've been channeling, but I do know that in 2024, it went to another level. My brother Trey is like this too, y'all. Like me and Trey would be up until back in the day, me and Trey would be up until I would be up until 2 o'clock, and that used to be my limit. And maybe I could push to 3. Trey would be up till 5. He would go to bed at like 5 or 6. Even when he was living here in Senegal, that was his schedule. And I was still out by 2, maybe 3 o'clock. And then in 2024, I went through what I call like a expansion of my awakening, another awakening, whatever you want to call it. And I started staying up. This is going to sound crazy to y'all. I don't even like to share this, but I was staying up until 8 o'clock, sometimes 11 and 12 o'clock. Do you understand that? Like that means I woke up, I did my whole day, and I didn't go to sleep until the complete next day. I let the midnight go through 2 o'clock, 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and I have full blown energy. This started happening to me in 2024. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Why can I not get down? What the heck is happening? And my body would feel tired, but my mind wouldn't. And it wasn't like I'm going through a depression and I'm not, everybody wants to call mental health. It wasn't, it was nothing. This just started happening. And I remember telling my friend, I was telling her one day, I said, I think I'm channeling like on another level. Like I think that my guides are speaking to me on another level. I think that there are, beings, ETs that are connecting to me, and I'm getting downloads. Some people would say like DNA downloads. And so this was just a thought. I just said it because that's just what I felt like. And I just said it real quick and just went away. I was like, whatever, I don't know. And then like maybe 3 months later, my homegirl Jennifer, she's a medium. She sees the dead. She's been seeing the dead her whole life. And she was doing these readings on live. And I had caught a reading one day. And I was like, tell me, I mean, no, I was like, let me do a reading. And she was like, what questions do you have? And I was like, I don't have any questions. I don't want to know anything specific. I just want to know, like, tell me whatever my guides want to tell me. Like, I'm sure there's something that they want to share. I feel like there's something they want to share. Whatever that is, just share that. And so the first card that Jennifer pulls is a card of the Greys. If you guys know the Greys, those are the extraterrestrials that are most commonly reported as people being abducted by. I'm sorry if this conversation is scary to you. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I've been talking to extraterrestrials since I was a kid, so I don't know what to say. But it's real. That's all I can say for now. I speak to them in my sessions, and it's a real thing. You will know more. You will understand what I just said over the next year and the next following few years. But So she pulls out the grays. Please be careful if you do research on the grays. I can't get into it right now, but there's a lot of misconceptions about the grays. So she pulls up the grays and she goes, "Oh," she goes, "I bet you're not sleeping." She's like, "I bet you're up until the next day like you've never been before because they're talking to you." She's like, "They're giving you downloads, they're giving you messages, so they're going to be keeping you up and da da da." She went into a whole thing. And I'm like typing on, I'm like, you have no idea. Like, girl, what the heck? This is crazy. Like, why am I up at 8 a.m. feeling? And this is the thing, too. And this is also what made me know that it was me, getting downloads, because I would be up at this time like I am now. But it's because I feel like this certain, you remember how yesterday I was talking about this joy that I can feel of our higher souls, and I can feel how we really feel. I would feel that. So I'm up like a person that done took something. Like, this is like a person that actually have some type of substances to take at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., have not slept. And I'm feeling the love and the joy of the world and the people and the like. Oh my God. And so Jennifer was like, you have to talk to them. She was like, you need to tell them that you need rest, that you need to sleep. And we got to get a balance going on here. We got to get some type of schedule. Okay. And I did that and it did change. I'm not staying up until 8 a.m. anymore. But if I'm not careful, like right now, I mean, I went live at 3 or 4. So I already knew it was gonna be super late. Okay, let me get back to the comments, y'all. I'm doing good with like going back and reading the comment. Like, I get so caught up and then I end up reading it at the end and it's not good. It's too late. I just wanted to say how much I admire your work, your content, and Afro Millennial Mama actually inspired and was able to spend a month in Uganda. Oh my goodness, which was a life-changing trip. That is so awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that with me. That is beautiful. You guys, I love to know the impact that I make because you just don't know. Like, I be in my own world. I really be in my own world. So when I get messages and emails, especially from elders, I get messages from people that are so many years older than me, and just to know that my life, just me being obedient and truthful to myself, and just being truthful to my kids. Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this for others, obviously, but I'm also doing this for me and for my kids, and just me being myself, just knowing that has caused these different events to happen in my life, and for me to share these things and that inspired people. It's a huge thing. So I really appreciate when you guys share those things. I'm feeling really drawn to Senegal next to explore on my repatriation journey, but I have some personal safety concerns regarding the recent legal changes this year. What are your concerns? What are your safety concerns? Yeah, I need to get off of here. If I say that, just ignore me because it means 30 more minutes or an hour if I say that. I did the same thing whenever I didn't have a class or work. I just love how quiet, yeah, and peaceful. It's like it's because we're not supposed to have to do that. We're not supposed to have to go to sleep at this time and wake up at this time. It's supposed to be an option. I don't care what y'all say. Like, we done did enough years of making people feel like you're not adulting correctly and you're failing if you don't have a perfect schedule. But that's not normal for an ADHD world. Like, everybody's always like, "Oh, well, I'm ADHD." We're all ADHD, okay? The majority of us, not every single individual, but the majority of us are. We're not supposed to be going on this robotic. We're not robots. Like, we're going to be different. The world should be open all the time. It should be a 24-hour world. I should be able to go to the bank at 11 p.m. because, yes, I was asleep at whatever time, because, yes, I was up at whatever time. Like, that's how it should be. Of course, my camera has to do this. Of course, it has to go out. It's just not. able to function without. Bam. Okay, let me turn it off and go back. iTunes. Okay. Let me read the other comments. Oops, damn it, I'm recording. Okay. Um. Okay. How is the day-to-day reality on the ground right now for same gender loving people? What? Okay. That's all you had to say, baby. Yes. Like, that's what you mean. I'm like, what type of safety? I'm like, what is happening? Yes, that's a thing, right? I'm absolutely comfortable of sharing, and I have done all that I can to try not to share, to try not to share this because again, I don't want to be kicked out of synagogue. But so I'm not gonna get into this, okay? Me and Alsim have talked about this. I'm not gonna get into this deeply, but I will say that yes, there is a very weird, toxic, horrible, tragic, what should be haram climate right now when it comes to that. Again, I will not get into it. I'm gonna do my best to not talk about that because we're gonna be on here for another hour. um so what I am telling people right now that are coming in here that would be a part of the group that would, that could be in danger. I'm doing this, but I'm not doing this because it really is danger. Um, is to come through here and to just not, I don't feel like, I don't feel, damn, how can I really say this now? Like, I'm not gonna lie, it has changed. Um, I don't really feel like I would see a diasporan going through that as easily and quickly as a Senegalese person would. Um, I don't even like talking in code. Like, we're talking about gay people. We're talking about gay. We're talking about LGBT. I think it's whack that I have to say that in code. So I'm not even going to do that. Like, if anybody's offended, they just offended. But yeah, I think that diasporans um, wouldn't deal with that as much or as easily as Senegalese would. I think that if you're going to come here right now, and if you're not you specifically, but I mean anyone that has the same question, and if you're going to be like, if it's like super flamboyant or it's like super obvious, then you're going to have, you might have some issues. You might have a situation. Somebody might feel like they really are, brave enough and, to say something or something. So like I have my homegirl she's Senegalese American, and she had a friend come down here last month, and she was asking me like what she should tell him, and I was telling her to just tell him not to be so obvious. Like, he wears polish, so don't do that, certain things like that. Um and him and the person he came with was just like, we don't care anyway. Like, they was like, we don't care. So there's that too. You can also just not give a damn. But I think that you should still take some type of precaution because people are stupid. People are ignorant, and hate it's an internal thing, you know? So you just don't know the lengths that it can go. I also had the same concerns in Uganda, but had ways of navigating it. But I'm actually looking at moving to Senegal. What I would say is, depending on, and this is not any judgment. This is just I have to say it in real time. I have to be open and honest about what I'm saying, so if anybody watching this can understand. Anyone who has the same question can understand. But what I would say is, if you're gonna live here, if you are, if anyone watching this is a person that is flamboyant, then I would say don't move to Senegal. Just because it's just like, even if you don't ever deal with nothing, like, why be in a country where the hate is so big that you're not going to be able to, what you're not going to be able to escape is the judgment and the stares at the minimum. but that most likely, probably very likely now is not just going to be the minimum, you know? So I wouldn't say move here. And I don't mean that in a sense of like, if you come here to visit, you're going to be attacked. If you stay here for a few, I'm not saying anything like that. I wouldn't know that. But I do know, and I do feel like on the level of what's so obvious, and forgive me if I'm not using the right terms, because I don't know if flamboyant is a derogatory term or whatever. That's just like, I'm old school, so we say gay and we say flamboyant, like, but back in the day, that those were not offensive words. But yeah, I would say if you're going to come through that way, for anyone that is wondering, that you would just need to take precaution and not be so. That's fucking crazy to be like, don't be yourself. But yeah, that's it. Do extraterrestrials actually abduct people? Why and what do you do to be abducted? Yes, I don't think that we should be using the term abducted. Okay, wait, let me go back to this real quick, since I just, I pushed the wrong button. You are welcome. You are so welcome. Um, okay, wait. Don't get don't get kicked out. Right. Exactly. So yeah, they do abductions. Um, I wish we would just use a different word so it just doesn't seem so extreme. You can look up some people. There's a lady named Betty something. I know Betty's name. One of the first biggest abduction case, like the first abduction case that made international news, was with a black man. I think that's a fun fact. Because black people do not report their UFO and extraterrestrial sightings. Um, just like we don't report our assaults as often as other races do. Um, okay, I have to get Betty's name now. Betty, please, yes, Betty and Barney Hill. This was the most popular case in the 60s, that made international news. And I love Betty and Barney Hill's their whole story, because they were an interracial couple in a time that it was very dangerous for you to be interracial couple. So them being famous for being abducted, which was also not a good thing to be talking about and happening back then. It's just like, yeah, their life after that experience was lit, and they became really popular. They didn't try to. The FBI had interviewed them, and someone leaked an interview, and the way that they told the story, which is what the story that Betty and Barney gave them, was not exact. And so that made Betty and Barney want to come out and clarify what actually happened. And to make a long story short, they were riding on a dark road after visiting family really late one night, and they seen something in the sky. They just decided, I guess, what anyone would do, or maybe what white folk would normally do, is chase it and want to go see and want to go see what it is. And so they did that, and they ended up following it. And Barney got out. Barney was black and Betty was white. And Barney got out, and he went to the field to get a closer look, because he could see, they could see by now that it was a an aircraft. And he went to look at it. He got out, and he could see them in the window. He could see them in the window of the aircraft. And so it freaked him out. He ran, and he was like, they're coming to get us. They're coming. And then they ended up basically they ended up blacking out. Uh, Barney ended up blacking out. Betty was still conscious, and she still had her memory. And they were led on foot. They had to carry Barney because he was unconscious, so they had to kind of carry him. But they were led mostly on foot into the aircraft. And Betty has this same story that she's told for 40, 50 years in the exact same way. And she's been cross-examined by hundreds of people, FBI, CIA. She tells the exact same story every time, or she was when she was alive. And it was that she was on the aircraft and she had a whole conversation with them, and they gave her information and showed her a map about where they live, and they had a whole interaction. She asked them if they could come back so she could introduce them to her homegirls and all types of stuff. And yeah, she she talked about what I love about Betty's story, that you guys are that we're gonna be, it's gonna be a topic soon, is she talked about how they didn't look nothing like how we describe extraterrestrials, with the them being black or like the grays, and they have these big black eyes and this the whole thing. She said no, they look like us. She said no, they looked more human than anything. You know, there were aspects of them that you could tell that they weren't fully human, but they looked more human than anything. And to answer the rest of your question about why, it is according to extraterrestrials that I speak to in my sessions, and also if you research it, you're going to see people say the same thing, is DNA. It's a DNA thing. And that sounds crazy. That sounds horrible for us. It sounds like a violation. And on one end, it is. On one end, taking us onto your aircraft to take our DNA is a violation. On the other end, and the reason why it's really happening, is to save humanity and to save the planet and to save other planets. Not to get too deep right now, but you don't just have human DNA. When they're doing the ancestry.com, they're skipping over the other DNA that isn't human. I did see some stuff recently about some scientists talking about us having some DNA that isn't human though. So they're probably going to be coming out with that soon. But yeah, it's a DNA thing. I spoke to an extraterrestrial in one of my sessions who told me that he does not like the US government. He said he loves the people. He said he loves Earth. He loves humans. He said he doesn't like the US government specifically. And when I asked him why, he said because of his corrupted government and the work that they do with our government. And when I asked him what kind of government, I mean, what kind of work, he said that they exchange technology, that his planetary government gives our government technology. And when I asked him what is the exchange for, he said it's human DNA. And so yeah, that's a thing. Now on the flip side of that, what's happening with because, and you guys are going to hear about this, you guys already heard about this, there's people, JFK back in the 70s already came out and said this. Trump said something too. Like there's presidents that have actually talked about us having contact, and them having contact with extraterrestrials. What was that, last year or the year before, when the government made an announcement? So it's going to be coming a lot more clear to us. But what they're not going to be saying is that what's really happening when they're in these dealings with extraterrestrials is they're abducting them, they're kidnapping them, they're taking them, they're holding them against their will. You can go online and go down the rabbit hole of whistleblowers. I love me a whistleblower. Okay, that's one of my favorite people on this earth is a white whistleblower. Okay, because they're going to tell you the truth, and they're going to have the credibility that you need to have to be telling that type of truth. As in, they're going to be your ex-colonels, ex-generals. They're going to be people that were working within the military and in NASA, people that are getting their life threatened, people that are getting their homes set on fire, or their offices and things. This is actually a real thing, and you can go down that rabbit hole of them. I was watching this one guy a few months ago, and he was talking about his guilt of being a part of the government abducting. I forgot what the extraterrestrial was named, but it's a popular name that he has, and he talked about the ET having a family and missing his family, and being malnourished because, the oxygen in the food is very different, and just him having to be a part of that. There's a lot of people actually that have come out talking about that. If you guys know Gaia.com is like really a really good source where you have like scientists. Like these scientists are not jeopardizing their careers and their families to just make up some ET lies, you guys. And unless my clients are paying me to act, unless my clients are sending me money so they can act during the session, that they can pretend like they're speaking to an extraterrestrial, and unless I'm crazy, and when I was 4 years old, I just, for no reason at all, assumed that I was communicating with extraterrestrials, then if you don't believe this, then you probably have a rabbit hole to go down. It sounds like you got some research to do, buddy. If you are ready for that, if you feel like you're ready for that. Oh, I love this. I love this. Feminist boys grow up to be bitches. Find a man who will show them how to be man. Don't set them up for failure. Jesus loves you. Oh, with the Jesus message at the end. Let's unpack this. Feminist boys. Can you tell me what a feminist boy has looked like? Like where have you seen a feminist boy? What is a feminist boy? Because if you automatically went to the word feminist boy being feminine boy, then you've already allowed for your emotions to block any logic in this conversation. And maybe you're just tuning in, but I did break down what the Webster's dictionary definition of the feminist movement is and what feminist actually is, not the emotional definition that men say that it is or whatever. But let's go further, right? Because you're saying that there's feminist boys now. I've never, I personally, not until the last like year or two, I haven't known of any men that are um that are about women's autonomy and women having autonomy over their body. Men who um, men who advocate for their wives during labor and birth. A man who is aware of the different cycles that women go through every single week. I haven't. I personally haven't met that type of man. But recently, thank God, we're going into the new earth, and we are finding men coming up on TikTok. And there's a couple of podcasts of men that I've seen, and there's even two brothers that I've seen that they're educating women about our bodies and the stuff that we go through with our bodies and stuff. So you let me know when you've known a feminist man, um, when that has happened. But I want to comb through everything you said here, because then you said find a man who will show them how to be men. So when we look at the world of today, and we know that men have always existed, fathers have always existed, people have always had fathers, right? When you look at the world today, and when you see what we see, up to 70% of women's homicide being committed by the men that we're loving, our husbands and our partners. When you see things like what we're just seeing 2 weeks ago with the brother who unalived his ex-wife and his, was it 8 kids? Um, I talked about the Senegalese man that shot his pregnant wife's face off 2 months ago. So all these different things, right? Um, just what we see when it comes to men and aggression and the suppression. And I talked earlier about how men, because of men, are not allowed to express and speak and cry. So with what we know about men and men's emotions, we know that men do not have healing circles. We know that men deny healing. We know that men deny therapy in general. Okay. I'm not saying every single man. You always have to give this disclaimer because then someone always comes in and says not all men. So I'm not talking about every single man on the planet. I have male clients. So of course I can't be saying every man, but definitely in general, definitely the majority. So since we know that, and we're talking about what you said here, you said that I need to find a man who will show my boys, I guess you're referring specifically to me, my boys how to be men. And so with the history of the world and what we see in the world, do we really like are we really saying that what's missing is men teaching boys how to be men? Like have is that not what has been happening? I hope you're still here because I really want you to answer this. Are we not in the let's just say uh 30,000th year of men raising boys, like men teaching men how to be men? Like this, this is not like a new concept. So if this is, do I have a single fact to back what up? Do I have a single fact to back what up? So if this is where our world is, because what I'm talking about, if if you need like if you need facts as far as like how I just said, up to 70% of our women's homicide in the world is their husbands and their partners, or like the 62 million views of the academy that's going viral right now. The lady's story who just became public like a month ago. She was married to her husband for 50 years, and for 15 of those years, he had been drugging her and assaulting her unconsciously and putting it on a website where other husbands are doing the same thing. Um, are you saying facts about that? Um, so yeah, being where we know where the world is, right? Are you guys going to argue too that men don't run the world, and that men haven't created all the religions, and that men don't create haven't created every system? Are you guys also going to argue that? Like, if we can at least agree that men do run the world, women, we're just here in it, we're just giving birth to you in it, but men do run the world. Was it James Brown who said this is a man's world? But it wouldn't be nothing without women. I think we all can agree that men run the world. So the point that I'm making about this here statement is, if this has always been a thing where men have always taught men what a man is, how is, like, being what the world is, how is this what I'm missing? How is that what is being missed if that's what things have been? I also want to share something I wrote about a few months ago. I have a cousin that I grew up with. His mom, my aunt, she's like, I called her our Claire Huxtable. Like, we really, like, I can really say that a woman who was a mother to me. My mom did raise me, but my father raised me the first 10 years of my life. So just in case you think I don't know about men, or I have a daddy issues or something, me and my dad have been best friends since I was a kid. And he was the person who raised me since I was two. And with my cousin, my aunt helped him, and may she continue to travel in peace. She passed away 2 years ago, but she is really like our Claire Huxtable. She is the parts of me as a woman that are Claire Huxtable, like the ability for me to homeschool and for me to heal my family, and the way that I am about books and all types of other things, and reading my kids bedtime stories and other stuff. It's because of her. So every time I mention her, I got to shout her out. But my cousin, who is her son, um, he was raised by her and his father, who is my uncle, and he has three other siblings. They were raised in a beautiful, healthy home. I mean, I'm talking about the Cosby family for real. I'm not lying. Like I lived in this home, so I know I would tell you the truth if it wasn't. This was the real Cosby home in LA. Pretty well off family. My uncle and my aunt were in the industry, so they did like producing shows for celebrities. So they've met, big time celebrities and stuff. I grew up with George Clinton, like calling him my uncle. If you don't know George Clinton, he's the what they call him, the king of funk. So yeah, they've just a very well-rounded family that traveled. In every Friday was family night. We played games every Friday. We went to different cities. They've been to different countries. Very healthy family. My uncle was very present, and they grew up playing sports. I'm just trying to paint a picture for y'all so that you don't go with the narrative that Black American men often go with when it comes to this. And so yeah, my cousin is raised by both of them, right? A really healthy relationship with his mom, really healthy relationship with his dad. And so we're talking one day, and I just noticed throughout our talks that when we're talking about him and his relationships, he's really present. Like he's really emotionally available for women. And I tell him one day, I'm like, yo, like I love how available you are, with your emotions for women. Like that's really dope. And damn it, I can't get this thing off of here. And my cousin goes, you know what, Dayla? It's so crazy how we're always saying boys need their dad, boys need their dad. He said, but the way that I know how to be a man to a woman, it's because of my mom. It's because of the relationship I had with my mom, not because of the relationship I had with my dad. He said, my dad couldn't, sure, I could see my dad. I can witness my dad giving her flowers and things like that. But believe it or not, people do witness that, and they still don't end up being thoroughbred men or thoroughbred women just because they witness that. That's actually not real. What matters, and on a very realistic level, and this is coming from someone who raised a child that didn't have their mom for 10 years in my marriage, what really matters is the relationship with the opposite sex. When it comes to how you're going to be with the opposite sex, what really matters is your relationship with the opposite sex. And so I got excited when I seen that comment, because I love when Black American men, because you guys are the only ones that do this, but when you guys do this thing to single women and you're like, find a man that can do, the boys need a man. And it's like this big macho masculine thing. And you guys don't know that men don't teach men how to be men for women. And you being a man, sure, I'm not saying that a man can't teach a boy things, and that men don't have great things that they can teach men. Again, let's not forget that men have always existed, and we see where we are today. Men have always taught their sons. That's the results of the world today. But I'm not saying that fathers are not needed and that fathers cannot teach their sons things. But what I'm saying is that the idea that we have that a man actually prepares a boy to be an emotional, in tune, and just a protector in every single thing that a woman needs, a man does not. You cannot actually, you can show a boy that, but for you to want to do that as a man, the men who are not doing that for women and for their women, they're men that have unhealthy relationships with their moms. That is what that actually is. And the same thing, it like this is so hard for heterosexual men to grasp, but you know what helps you guys understand it? It's when we flip that and we're talking about women. Because we don't have a problem talking about women's daddy issues. All of a sudden, when a woman has a bad relationship with the father, then she's not a good woman. No wonder she's not a good woman. Like we're able to connect that. But when it comes to this it's such a typical masculine thing. Like it's such a toxic masculinity thing. It's like boys need their fathers. Do y'all even know what it looks like when a boy doesn't have his mom? Like, have any of you guys raised a boy that didn't have his mom or that had a toxic relationship with his mom? Like, I really genuinely want to know. Because when I see this conversation, I can tell that everyone who's just like, he just needs his father. And it's like a sick thing that we do with it too, because we don't even say boys need healthy fathers, boys need present fathers, boys need intentional fathers. We're so caught up on this macho masculine thing of just a man and a boy is a man and da 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 da. We don't even care what kind of father he is. We just say that he needs a father. Like, we and we literally will internalize this idea and assume that all the fathers in the homes are actually being fathers because the fathers are committing to the families and they're in the homes. And then when you see so many women, so many married women, and this wasn't me, by the way, I wasn't married feeling single. My ex-husband was very domestic. I wouldn't say very, but all the men that I've been with were domestic men. So they helped around the house. But then you see so many wives who are who talk about their feeling of they feel like they're single because a man being in your house ain't shit if he's not a man's man. And I know what this is like because I was raised by a man. So I know what it looks like for a man to show up. I actually know the power that a man can have and what men can bring. Most of you men that are watching this don't even know the power. Most men don't know the power that they have as men. Most men don't know their power. So it's like we have it really like it's like flipped and there's like this thing like it's just like this really backwards thing that we have. And we have a really misunderstanding about it. And because men get so emotional about the subject, we don't really get to talk about it. And a lot of you guys don't have healthy relationships with your moms. A lot of you guys don't even realize that you don't have healthy relationships with your moms. Like you don't even realize that the first woman to verbally abuse you and to put a lot of pressure on you and all these different things that you see in that women can do in relationships with men, you don't even realize that it was your mom. The first person was your mom, and that cause you to resent women. This is very common. Okay, let me go back and read y'all's comments. Okay, feminism is pure evil and satanic. Okay, I'm not even going to entertain those kind of comments. Coming on blind here though, so I'll listen and see. Okay. There's really no excuse not to understand this. Okay. I'm sorry if I can't convince you. I can't convince you that women not being able to own property and work a job 50 years ago or vote caused a movement that had already been happening for centuries for women fighting for equal rights. Like I can't convince you of that. That's if you don't know that, then I won't be able to convince you. Okay, so this is what I love here because how many times do you hear, okay, let me read the whole thing. Wow, that's false. Boys need fathers and mothers. Women raise beta males and other women hate. This is completely false. Men teach boys about women. So, boys need fathers and their mothers. You completely, I think I'm not going to say what you did. I'm just going to say, I think that you completely missed what I said because do you ever hear boys need their mothers? Like, be honest. Be honest. All you guys watching me right now, does it even sound right to say or to hear boys need their moms? When do you hear that? You don't. You don't hear that. You also don't hear girls need their dads. You don't hear that. What you hear in heterosexual men so commonly, so often, and when this subject is even anything around this subject is brought up, is boys need their dads. A boy needs his dad. He needs to be with his dad. And in the same sentence, in the same line, men will argue that it's okay that men don't cry. It's okay that the last time you cried was when you was 16. It's okay that men don't express themselves and don't talk. Like in the same line, you will say, you will deny that we don't ever say that boys need their moms. Like you're saying it now, but we never say that. That's not something that we truly believe. We believe that boys need their fathers, and that's what I'm talking about. We don't actually say it in any other way. But in the same line, we're talking about the results of the world, which is a man ran world of men who run it and who control and make all the rules, right? That doesn't even like it's this is not saying boys don't need their dads. It's saying that we need to break this very toxic idea that if he's a dad, then he's needed, or that a boy, or even that men who don't have their dads end up being worse off than men that did have their dads. Even that narrative is not true. And you can argue this if you want to, but unless you've ever been intimate with a man, unless you're a gay man or you're a woman, you don't even know. You don't even know what it's like to be with a man who didn't have his dad versus a man who did have his dad. You don't even know what that's like. So how can you argue? Like heterosexual men are always arguing a woman, like what women say about our experience with men. Have you been with a man though? I'm not trying to be funny. Like, how would you even know? Like, I say this all the time to women and men. I like, even for women that defend their friends, like a woman will defend her homegirl and swear that her homegirl is the best wife, the greatest woman. How do you know? You ain't never been with her. You know her as a friend. You don't know her as being her man. That's a whole different person. So how do you even know what men are more or less emotional in a world full of men that don't express their emotions? Most men aren't even hugging and kissing their sons, especially if their son is an adult. Most men are not even doing that. So how do you know which man is more emotionally unavailable and suppressed? How can you tell us about the experience with you if until you've been with a you and enough you? You'd have to have multiple experiences with men to know that. Why I keep pushing this? I keep pushing the wrong button. You would think raising your son to treat half the population with basic respect shouldn't be controversial, right? You would think that it should not be these centuries of debates. Like it should never be a thing. And it's exactly the same thing that Black people have been dealing with white people. There's an oppression of women, just like there's an oppression of Black people, and white people are saying that it just doesn't exist. It's just not a thing. You guys are just fighting for nothing. You're just extreme. You're pulling the race card. So what have we been fighting for then? So put that same thing I just said between man and woman. What the hell is women? Women are literally finding babysitters to go and protest. We've been doing this since forever. Since way before there was anything called a constitution, women have been protesting for equality. Are we just bored? We just don't got nothing to do? Like, what the hell are we even fighting for? Like, it's almost crazy that there's such a debate about the feminist movement. And there's like, it's sad that like the word feminism is even a derogatory term, because that would be like, it would be like white people naming some, like whatever you would call us speaking up for our rights as Black people, it would be like white people saying, oh, you're Black powernism or whatever term. Like, if you got your foot on my neck and I'm talking about it, am I really bitter? Am I really crazy? Do I really hate you? Or do I just want you to get your foot off my neck? And it's like that point can't even be proved, because heterosexual men, so many heterosexual men, not all men, because there's actually way more men that are understanding this now, more than ever. But heterosexual men are normally saying, no, that's not happening, you're lying, and not all men, and like, and it's just like, what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about? No, it's easy to spot the man that grew up without fathers. They get overly emotional. They think yelling and screaming is masculine. The stats on single moms household is out of is terrible. Okay. So again, you're a heterosexual man, right? Tell me if you're a gay man, then let's get deeper into this, because unless you've been with a man, you don't think that us women know if our man have a man or have a father or not. You don't think that we are, like, this is our experience. So if you're saying that that men who grow up with fathers, without their fathers, are more emotional, how is this the case? If, like, what does that have to do with the opposite side, which is a man not having a mom? You know what I'm saying? Like, so is it that he doesn't have a father, but then he has a healthy relationship with his mom, or he doesn't? So then because in my personal experience, and I'm a woman that speaks to other women, it's not been the men that don't have fathers. It's been the men that also have both their mother and fathers. More men, in my personal experience, I've dealt with more narcissistic, toxic, and neglected fathers that had their dads in their life than the fathers that didn't. And what I think is really messed up when men try to prove this point and say this is you're downgrading a whole group of men that didn't have fathers and that go out of their way to be fathers because they didn't have a father. You literally are acting like like this large group of men don't even exist. It's not true to say that a man is more emotionally controlled because he had a man. Like, that wouldn't even make sense if the male species is not about emotions. Y'all don't process your emotions. Y'all don't go to therapy. Y'all don't heal. So how can the father be the reason why the man is less emotional? You know what I'm saying? Like, what a father can do is, if he is a healthy father, he can tell his son that it's okay to cry. He can tell his son that it's okay to have emotions. And he can definitely teach his son strength and how to be strong and those kind of things. Fathers aren't even telling their sons that it's okay to have emotions. So when you're thinking that emotions, like, the true thing about a person that's emotional is what we see today. It's violence against women. It's up to 70% of women's husbands and partners unaliving them. That's emotional. We're talking about emotional men. When we're talking about men abusing women, we're talking about emotional men. That's what an emotion is. Men just don't connect their anger to men. Don't think that your outrage is emotional. You guys think that that's masculine, but that's an emotion. And this is what men teach. Again, this is not about men don't need, boys don't need their fathers. It's about this very toxic masculine idea. Like, you're literally saying it. You just said right here, no, it's easy to spot that a man grew up without a father. So you're saying that all the fathers are good needed fathers. You're literally perpetuating what we subconsciously believe in our community, that automatically, when it's a father, it's good and he's needed. And this is so delusional, because sometimes even for moms, like, how we also, on the flip side, there's the thing with moms needing their kids or having their kids. Sometimes the father is better off to have the kid than the mother. It's not just because of the nurturing thing. It's about the individual. It's not just because the person is a father or a mother. It's about the actual characteristics of that person. So that's the point that I'm proving when we say what you said to me, which is, you need to find a man to have them be a man or whatever. That doesn't make sense, because
a man, it's like saying that love is enough to keep love going. Love is not enough. Being a man is not enough. Being a father is not enough. Being a husband is not enough. You actually have to do things. You actually have to be present. And the things that you do, you know what? In my sessions, this is what I find when I'm taking people through an MDR session and we're going through the memories in this lifetime. I have found that my clients that grow up in that grew up in a two-parent home, they have more blockages when we're going through the memories. They have more blockages and trauma than the people that grow up in a single parent home. And this is not me trying to like manipulate. I'm just talking about regression. I'm just talking about taking people into past lives. And the portion where we stay into this life, I don't think that we understand that when two people come together that probably were not healed, most of the time you don't have two people in a house that actually healed. And we have this really unrealistic view of what living in a house with a partner is, with someone that grew up from a completely different background, sometimes a different culture. And it's the same thing that you're doing with this whole father thing. We do it for this. We say a two-parent home is the way. And I used to think this, like after being married for 10 years and leaving my ex-husband, I used to think that the kids have to have, like, they have to have this. This is what it's supposed to be. How does domestic violence happen by yourself? It happens with two people. So many of us grew up in homes with our parents arguing or being silent with each other. Like you could cut the tension with a knife on a family trip. People literally, like, I do this for a living, guys. I help people through their problems and through their life. People have two parent homes where they're dealing with a lot of trauma from their parents. And a lot of people will go into adulthood and finally have the conversation with their mom about how she stayed for the kids, and they be like, I wish you would have left. Like we could have got the real you. We could have got this you, this happy you that you find. This is really what's happening. It's not that the majority of homes are healthy, the majority of marriages are happy and healthy. It's actually not that way. Are there happy marriages and homes? Of course. Of course there are. But on a human level, as someone who went to school for psychology and had been doing therapy for over 13 years, I've counseled married couples that have been married way longer than me. I promise you, it's not the delusion that we think it is. And I'm not protesting that we say boys don't need their fathers. I'm protesting that we stop doing this thing with this whole masculine thing, like this whole father but men thing. You're taking away how important it is for a man to have a really intentional relationship with his mom. Like men need their moms, boys need their moms too. Like we never say that because we're so stuck on boys need their fathers. I'm so grateful that my parents didn't go with that, because we don't ever say this, but subconsciously we think that girls need to be with their moms. And I'm so grateful that my parents didn't go off of like any gender, toxic masculinity thing or anything like that, because what they did is they shared me equally across states. They never fought or argued, and my father was the best candidate to raise me for those first 10 years, and then my mother was the best candidate to raise me for those last years of my life. And while we say, this is why I really want y'all to get out of this mindset that we have with this, because we say that fathers teach their kids this, fathers teach the boys this, mothers do this. That's not even real. Like there's certain aspects, because yes, there are feminine traits, there are masculine traits. So there's certain aspects that innately the majority of this sex might have, but it's not realistic to say that. My father is such an amazing father, and he did such a good job with being a girl dad because of the relationship that he had with his mom. His dad died when he was 3. So him and his brothers, who I don't have an uncle that's not an amazing dad. Hell, if anything, my aunties ended up being kind of messed up. They ended up damaging their kids on a certain level. But all of the men, all of my uncles that were raised by only their single mom are very intentional, amazing men. And my father taught me how to be feminine. He made it safe for me. You see how we wouldn't really understand that that's actually what happens because we think that there's these black and white things. We think that it's my mom who was supposed to teach me how to be feminine and about my hygiene. And we think that it's my dad that was supposed to protect me. Like it's so patriarchy. It's so outdated. It's not even real. My father is the one that taught me about my hygiene. It wasn't my mom. And my mom is the one that taught me not to take no shit from nobody and to have strength. It was the complete opposite. My father is the feminine aspect of me because he gave me what the opposite sex can only give me. My mother can teach me, she can show me, I mean, how to be feminine. She can be an example, but she's not going to put me in my femininity. I need my opposite sex parent for that. You understand? So a father can show his son how to be a man to a woman. Yes, he can give him examples, he can be an example, but that is not actually giving him that experience. We came here as experiments. This is earth school. You need the experience. So if your experience with the first woman or the first man on earth is you being assaulted, whether that be verbally or physically. I have a lot of male clients who moms were, you know, always going off on them, you know, always putting a lot of pressure on them and stuff. Like if this is your experience, it shouldn't be boys need their fathers. That shouldn't even be a statement. We shouldn't even be saying that. We should be saying what you tried to say later on. Like it's not really what we feel though. It shouldn't be any gender thing, but there's a lot of toxic masculinity. I mean, women are waking up slowly to just how evil the destructive is. Okay, you're about to see something else come through here. Because women, you're right. Women are waking up, and it's not to how destructive that is. It's what you see. Because we're all seeing it. I think we're all seeing women waking up right now. We're all seeing women decentering men right now. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. I mean, this seems even like a separate conversation from what we were talking about earlier with like the African culture and us, you know, people being silent and just all of this. This is all the same stuff. It's all has to do with societal norms. And when you're saying societal norms, you are saying patriarchy. Those are synonym words. Those are synonyms to each other because society is ran by men. That's not a conspiracy. That's just what it is. It's not even, I'm not even like putting that, I'm not even saying that as a down thing. Like it's just, it is what it is. Like, so you are saying that. But again, you guys are so quick to turn these conversations into a gender battle and like it just gets so emotional so fast. It just gets so like you're evil. The women are evil. It's like it's almost as if you have some suppressed anger. It's almost as if, you know, like I'm just saying, and I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm saying like men in general with this general conversation. It's almost as if there's some letting go and some releasing that should take place because 70% of your homicide isn't women. You aren't being abused by the majority of the women that you choose. So why are you so angry? Damn, why my camera not? My camera's going out. Hold on, y'all. Why are you so angry? Like women actually have a right to be angry. If the majority of men I mean, if the majority of married men and men in relationships were being assaulted by the person they love, you guys would have a right to be angry. That's not a you need to choose better problem, because we're talking about the majority of women that are married. Like that's a problem within our culture. Then we're talking about women who are kept, right? Women that are home, right? So how could that be 70 up to 70%? Like we can't be still saying it's about the choice. The choices are slim. Just like men don't have a lot of great options when y'all are dating, you think we do? You think we have better options in men than men have better options in women? We don't. There's no way you could think that if men are not even healing. It's just impossible to even believe that. If men do not heal, men do not go to therapy in general. Everyone knows a woman in their life who has been assaulted. It's definitely common. That's absolutely right. Not only, I'll take it even a step further. For us women, we all know a woman in our life who have almost been murdered by a man, myself included. We all know, I'm gonna say that again. We all know, as women, we all know a woman, and honestly, we don't just know one woman. I don't think that there's any woman on this planet that just knows one woman who almost lost her life, who was literally almost killed by a man. How many times can we say that for men? How many of you men know a man who was almost killed by a woman? Of course, women are killing men. We know that. But the disproportionate amount, it's like, why are we ever debating this? Why don't y'all just be like, damn, this is really messed up. We got to stop this. Maybe we should heal. Maybe we should get more into our feelings and, not suppress them so much and care more about our mental health. This is not like it's just so mirror. It's such a mirror experience to what we deal with as Black people with white racist people. The same dismissive response, the same not all white people. It's the same thing, guys. If you really are passionate about this subject of masculine and feminine, you will do some research, patriarchy and racism, and how they are the same exact systems and how there is no separation. You will do some research on white and Black people that would write about this back in the 50s and probably even before then. I'm almost certain I could find some text way before that talk about how racism and patriarchy are the same. And so it's like, unlike white people and their oppression and their dismissal to us, Black women actually love you. We actually love men. We actually love Black men. We actually love you guys. And women in general who aren't Black actually love men. So it just shouldn't be like you guys get so offended and so like defensive. I thought you were the men though. Like you can't even listen. Like you can't even get to the bottom of what happened to, because of the man, you are more controlled and you're more logical. And these are innate traits that men are supposed to have. And you guys do not be having it in these conversations. If you do, you're just not utilizing it. Because if that was the case, we should have gotten to the bottom of this already. But if every time a woman talks about her experience with men, she's bitter, she hates men, how are you any different from the white people that are saying that, we're having crocodile tears and we're just pulling the race card and we can't get over racism. We can't get over our history. How is this different? I really want someone to tell me how that's different. I've always said if everyone was bisexual, most men would choose to date men because it's so obvious that they don't actually like women. I think it's so sad that, you know what, I'm gonna speak specifically about Black men. I think it's sad that specifically, being that from the Vaticans to the Neanderthals, like it's so much history in men just hating women, that it's so crazy that Black men specifically will defend patriarchy the way that they do. Because we can say that white men, like it's easy for Black men to say that white men always hated women. You see how that was a little bit more settling for you to hear, that white men have always hated women? Like we are quick to say that. But then it's like, then we have to separate Black men from white men when we're talking about that in general. And you can't do that, because as a man, you still benefit from being a man. You're still under the patriarchal construct of the sex that rules, the sex that makes the rules, the sex that gets to say, you're the ones that get to say that a woman getting the train ran on her is a chastising thing, and that's a horrible thing, and she's a hoe. But the men who all just dip their genitals in the same vagina, they're not gay at all. They're not hoes at all. Like, it's men that get to say that get to do those things. So it's like we can't separate you. If we talk about how much white men have always hated women, and we all know that that's a big thing, we can't then separate them from the construct of men as a whole, because it's not separate. If it was separate, y'all wouldn't be arguing this all day about our experience with men, you know. So it's just a big miscommunication between men. It's a big contradictory between men. It doesn't even have nothing to do with this. We're just the butt of it, you know. But this is a very true statement. Men would most definitely be with men if we were all bisexual. And honestly, this is too deep for anybody to even, people are still processing how a person is bisexual. So it's too deep for anybody to even grasp. We're not there yet. If you think the majority of women prefer to not have rights, you are 100% in a echo chamber. You are, you're yourself a definitely minority. Yeah, that's true. It's true, because then it's like, why would women not want rights? You know, one of my main sessions that I hate having, I hate going into a past life when a man or a woman was a woman and they were in a time in history, which is pretty much any time in history, but they're dealing with a situation where the woman is having to deal with what that looks like, with women not having rights look like. Like, I genuinely hate going to sessions where the woman is dealing with an abusive husband that she wants to leave, but she's not allowed to work because we're back in the whatever time where women couldn't work, where she's being assaulted, or she's being financially abused, or her husband died, and because she couldn't work, now she's suffering. Her and her children are suffering. A lot of times what used to happen, and I've done sessions where this would happen, and the women would have to go to the husband's brother. And this sounds like, oh, that's just nothing, but it's a lot, actually. It's actually a lot, because especially if you loved your husband, you don't want to be with his brother, but you literally have to, because you have to eat and you have children. And I just think that it's so hard for us to understand, especially when you hear these arguments. It's like, why, women fought so hard to work a job, and now women don't want to work. Yeah, that's right. Because you guys are in this time. We're in the 21st century. So y'all don't actually know what it looks like for a people, for a person, for a group. We can pretend like it's men that couldn't do it. But for a group of people, and especially the ones that have the children, especially back in the day when men were not connected with their children. Today, more men today than ever in our history are spending time with their kids alone, doing things with their kids. If you argue this, the same thing he just said, you're in a chamber. Because there was a time, just like it still is in Senegal, in a lot of African countries, men do not be spending time with their kids. It's very still patriarchy in that sense here, where men do not be spending individual time with their kids. The man is the supporter, the man is the protector and the provider, and that is it. When he comes home, he has his man cave, and he goes away from. This is traditional marriage and a household. We come from a very toxic, upbringing. And so it's just so many avenues that we could hit this thing, that it's just like, if it wasn't so much emotions, and maybe if we weren't having the conversation with the species that don't be wanting to heal. Y'all need to heal. That's not even a diss. Like, that's that's me like defending you. Like men need to care about their mental health. How can we be debating? Like women honestly shouldn't even be having these debates because I mean, but we have to because our safety, like our life, our children's life is based on this. Our if whether we're able to have abortions or how we want to give birth is based on this because that's all controlled by men. So we have to debate this. We have to fight for this. But it's like it's kind of crazy that it's even a topic when you really think about it. Because on so many levels, it's just like, are y'all just not seeing what women are fighting for? Like are y'all feeling like there is a little bit, but like where are we at? Like, can we come to a medium where this can make even a little bit of sense on why men literally debate and argue and why even some women, why men and women will even say that a woman does not have a right to be angry with men. Again, I have to go back to these numbers because if up to 70% of women are being assaulted and or homicided by their husbands and their partners, I think that women should have a right to be angry. I think that just like Black people have a right to be angry about racism and we shouldn't be silenced, I think that women should be allowed to be upset and disappointed in men. And I think that more men should be. And the cool thing is that when men have daughters, they are. When men finally have daughters, all of a sudden, they are done with men. They are fed up with men. And they're teaching their women, I mean, they're teaching their daughters to not be nice to men, to not do what you guys are always telling us, to smile. You guys are always telling us to smile, and how come we're not smiling? But when men have daughters, they teach their daughters not to smile at men, not to be so open because you know men. So it's like if the conversation wasn't seen as like, like I'm saying this because I hate you and I want you to die and you're the scum of this earth. And like, that's literally how men take it. And, getting outside of this whole patriarchy thing, that's how men take it in the home. Like being on some whole, like real shit when it comes to a man's innate thing. A lot of you guys, a lot of men, again, do not even know their power. And a lot of women and men do not know that one of the innate traits, one of the great traits of a man is a fixer. Men are fixers. Men solve problems, okay? If this was a general thing, then we wouldn't be having a debate about patriarchy. So obviously, just like y'all say, not all men, it's not all men. It's most men, obviously, that are not really vibrating with the innate power that men have to fix. But men do have this power to fix. And so a man in his home will deal with situations with his woman, and he could be a good man, she could be a good woman, and she could be having issues with things, and she could be bringing it to him. And if this man is like most men, where he doesn't process his feelings because men have been taught not to since you guys were boys, he doesn't, process his emotions. Okay, again, this is a good couple. They're both faithful. No one's a hoe. Okay, men be so caught up on that whole thing. Like, no one's a hoe. No one has a high body count. They're both good people. Okay, and a man, this is coming from a therapist. I've counseled couples for so many years, and I also seen a male therapist talk about this the other day, and I was like, oh, this is so real. It's such a good topic. But a man in a home, a good man in a home with a good woman will become offended and not be able to be emotionally available for his woman that's bringing problems to him because he will take offense. And he has good intent because he actually wants to solve her problems. He actually does want to help and solve her problems. But because of his lack of emotional intelligence, because of not being able to process what's really going on, he will take her coming to him, whether it's calm, whether it's a text, whether she creates a PowerPoint presentation like women be trying to do, trying to explain, especially when they've been married for so many years, trying to explain what their hurt is and what their thing is. And he will take offense to that. And us as therapists, we have this. If any of you guys have counseled couples, especially if you counsel couples, then you've seen this. You've seen where in a home where a couple genuinely loves each other and they really want to make it work, the man will become offended at the woman having any kind of contrast. He just doesn't even like that her day ain't going right. Even if it's not him, he will take offense to that. And it doesn't, I'm not saying he's a bad man. I'm talking about emotions. Like this might be too deep for y'all to even like. Am I still live? Yes. I'm like, oh, maybe you don't know. Yeah, it's as it's too many layers to this, guys. We're not even touching the surface of this conversation. Women not working literally puts more financial pressure on men. It really makes no sense to be against feminism. Right, because on one end, right, exactly, because on the other end, especially nowadays, men really are needing help paying bills. Like, I'm not out here telling women. I mean, if you can get a man that can pay all the bills, great. I've never been with a man that wasn't paying all the bills. I also have paid the bills as well, and I've also had periods of being the only one paying the bills because that's realistic for your life. That's men lose their jobs, like that happens. But with this economy, y'all need to figure out which side of the coin you're gonna be on, because you really actually gonna need some help. Like right now, you low-key need help. Okay, y'all, I need to go. How often has she reacted to the people in the chat? I'm reacting often. I'm just trying not to lose whatever thought that I'm on. Who is repeating stuff everyone already knows? Who is bringing something new to the table? Who is gonna bury their head in the sand in zero? And can you explain? Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to understand this. Who is repeating stuff everyone already knows? Who is bringing something new to the table? Who is gonna bury their head in the sand and do zero real research? I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying. Are you saying because most people don't? If you're saying most people don't, I agree for sure. That's a thing. And I feel like I have to say this because we're so in the beginning of having these kind of conversations, and like I was just saying, it's too emotional for men. It should be an emotional conversation for women. Duh. We're talking about women wanting to be treated equal and wanting fairness, so they're going to be emotional at times about it. But the conversation is always so emotional that I feel like I need to say that talking about violence against women and the feminism things that women have fought for and all these things, it doesn't say that women don't have issues. It doesn't say that women are perfect, and this doesn't mean that women are not toxic. It doesn't mean that women don't have an issue with being accountable, because women do. It doesn't mean that women don't have an issue with lying, because women do. And if you've been on my other platforms, if you've been here with me for many years, then I've talked about this a lot, actually. So I feel like I have to say this because it's like talking to white people, like you or racist white people. You got to say these things because the conversation gets too emotional that you guys start to take it, just like I was explaining how we experience in therapy. You start to take it personal. Like you start to take, like, this is the reason why y'all say not all men, because you think that I'm talking about you and your dad, like you and your son, like you think that I'm talking about you specifically, which for a lot of you are included in the category. You do fit the bill for some things, and a lot of things, a little bit of things, or maybe one or two things, but it's about in general. That's what it's about. And this isn't saying that women are the perfect vessels and we don't need healing and we don't like, you men, I just said earlier that just like women, our choices are slim. We don't have a lot of great choices. Men don't either. But you guys are also not being murdered by your partners on the level that we are, or the abuse and the different levels of what we're dealing with. You guys are not having the autonomy of your body controlled and dealing with a bunch of diseases and conditions because men are running the men, because there's a father of gynecology and instead of a mother. Like, our fight is a little bit deep. Like, it runs beyond like black man, black woman stuff. It's very deep, and it's not as personal as it's like, I don't want to say it's not personal, because this is personal for all of us, but not in the light that men end up taking it, because you guys are taking it like we're saying that we don't love you and that we don't. And I don't see how you can say that, because black women show up for black men. Your mothers have shown up for men. Your grandmothers have shown up for men. Your daughters and your sisters, you see them sacrificing and putting up with and showing up for men. So I can't have those kind of conversations. Like, if a woman's saying, stuff like that, and a man is saying, women don't do, like, I can't even have those kind of conversations, because that's not even a thing. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna go. Yeah, you are. You have to be more detailed. What is that? Yeah, I am what? I'm new here. Can you give me a summary on what have you been saying? Because I am at a little bit confused. Okay, yes. Okay, I'm about to go. But what we were talking about, please watch the playback, you guys, because this is the topic. We need to be having this conversation. But I'm talking about, the topic is raising feminist boys, not feminine boys, feminist boys. And what I talked about in the beginning of this live was about how I actually talked about women complaining about men and then not raising boys to be the men that we want them to be. And I talked about how to do that in the sense of us educating what a feminist man is, what a feminist boy is a boy or a man who advocates for women health. You're not disconnected to the fact that women are dying giving birth and having all these uterine issues. The women that you guys love, half of y'all's moms don't even have a uterus right now. Like, half of y'all's moms had a hysterectomy. And this has to do with the fact that men are not aware of what women go through with our bodies. So you guys can't even begin to understand the fight that we have all the time in the medical field, and how we're essentially assaulted in the medical field, because it's a business. A woman's uterus is a business. Like, the main issues, the reason why you see women going to the doctor all the time for stuff and men don't go as much is because men don't have a uterus. I'm educating you right now. You can't debate this. You don't have a uterus. So women, we have endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids. We are dying while we're giving birth. Our babies are dying while we're giving birth. And women are not the only ones suffering from this. I have clients who are men who are also suffering from this. And this is happening under the umbrella of a male dominant system. The medical field, the Federal Reserve, the education system, religions, it's all man. So what I'm talking, Ish, why you not asleep? Okay, so we're just gonna stay up, right?
I'm really not gonna do this.
We can't go to sleep because we have to go in an hour.
I can't do this with you.
We have to stay up. Don't go to sleep. We just have to go in an hour. Oh my God. Okay, I'm fit to get off. I'm just reviewing for somebody that asked.
No,
So yeah.
I mean, if you get up, what are you gonna do? You're probably gonna fall asleep.
No, I'm not. If we gotta go jog, we're staying up, because it wouldn't make no sense if we go to sleep right now. We're not going to the office on time.
Yo,
I'm not gonna go jog, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to sleep. this is crazy. This is nocturnal 3.0. Like, we're doing too much here. Like,
Bro, these niggas is walking.
okay, because I've been live for a minute, right? 2 hours, almost 3 hours. Okay, so real quick, yeah, I was just reviewing how I was talking about that, and how I talk to my boys because I want my boys to be empowered men. What you guys don't see, and what I see, and everyone that does the work that I see, is that men who love women and men who have children are suffering when their women are giving birth, and sometimes suffering when there ain't no baby involved at all, because their woman is suffering from issues, from bodily issues. Outside of that, we also don't understand what women are going through with our 4 cycles that we have. So we're talking all this stuff, and we're even like using it as a way to weaponize a woman. You can't run anything because you're emotional and you're da 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 da. But we're not actually trying to understand it. And for me as a mother, I want for my boys to be able to catch their babies. I want for my boys to be able to know what's going on with their woman and her health. You guys don't understand that there's a thing with women and health. Men live longer than women. Men have a better life expectancy because you guys don't deal with the issues that we deal with. When a woman gets pregnant, often we automatically form a disease. Just getting pregnant can get you diabetes easy. Half of my clients develop diabetes just from getting pregnant. If you get pregnant and you deal with diabetes, you are so lucky if the diabetes goes away and you're not dealing with this on end. So I broke down all these different issues that women go through, and what we really are the center of the medical, the trillions of dollars that the medical field is getting. Obviously, men go through things too. Men have health problems too, but I don't think it's a secret that you guys are not in and out of clinics and hospitals the way that we are. And so I was talking about, I was saying that that's what a feminist man is. It's a man who isn't just sitting back docile about the fact that men should not be over our bodies. It should not be a father of gynecology. That's sick. The fact that women give birth on our backs because I forgot the king's name, but because whatever king in whatever year that was wanted to watch women give birth, like he would get off on us giving birth. So he wanted women to be on their backs. You can research this, but it's just it's feminist men are men that are not pretending. They're not men saying, well, not me, well, I'm not the one. I treat women good. They're the ones that in their homes, at the very bare minimum, they are, especially if they end up having to be single fathers. I have clients that are single fathers and fathers to daughters, and they don't even know what to do. This is really important. Like, it shouldn't be a gender thing. You should just want to know about this because it's a big thing, and it is going to affect your life. Unless you're a gay man, or unless you are a heterosexual man who's just going to hate women, or, like, I don't know, be on the DL or something. But if you plan on having children and you plan on being with a woman, this is going to affect you. Like, it's very rare that women even go their whole lives without dealing with some type of issues. And so, yeah, I was just talking about feminist boys being boys that are educated about women's bodies and autonomy. And my boys are going to be able, if my boys end up, God forbid, with a woman who doesn't know about her body and she wants to give birth in a hospital with epidural and all those things, if they don't end up with women like that, or even if they do, I mean, even if they do, they're going to be able to advocate for their women, and they're going to be able to assist their women and essentially save their life. And I was saying how even here in Senegal, there's a big movement in America where Black men who end up being single fathers, or they end up with their women having internal issues after birth, or again, it doesn't have to be a birth. She doesn't have to give birth at all, and she still has so many issues that she can deal with that are detrimental to her health, that is affecting her and the household every month. That's affecting their sex life. These are just things that men don't even know. Like this is new information for the majority of you, and that's a problem because we're all here in the world together. So I know a lot of you guys got triggered when you seen feminist boys because you think that it's feminine boys, and you think that, you know, feminism is this whole thing of women hating men. But there's not a better term that you can call men that are being raised, or boys that are being raised to know the autonomy of a woman and to be able to catch their babies and be advocates for their babies. And when you see men do this, the same way that a woman that takes power over her birth, men become a new level of man when he is able to advocate and be involved in his birth, and he plays a role in how easy that birth went. It's a right to passage for men as well. So that's what I was talking about. And someone came in and seen the feminist word and then went down this whole thing of women hating men and stuff like that. I don't think I've heard of Dr. Thomas. I'm so sorry, y'all. I need to go. Look at this. So now I'm censored. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not censoring anybody. YouTube is censoring you. He's like, I wonder why. Do you feel like you're speaking so much truth that YouTube is like YouTube is like cutting you? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't even see Elliot. Why do men always have to educate themselves about women? Why is not job? Can you tell me when men educate themselves? If this statement is true, he said, why do men always have to educate themselves about women? Why is not your job to educate yourself about men since you're raising boys, not girls? Okay. So let's unpack this really fast. Why do men always have to educate themselves about women? Please tell me, what planet are you really on where men are always having to educate themselves about women? Where men are ever educating themselves about women? Where men are ever told to educate themselves about women? Please, I really want you to tell me what village, what country, like where is this happening at? Two, what I didn't say is that women are not educating ourselves about us. But if you're wondering why women are not and have not been educated about ourselves, it is because of men. That's what I'm talking about. Men are the ones who run the system of our wombs. Men are the ones that tell us what we can do with our wombs and how to give birth. And there was a time that women actually did know about our wombs, and we were in tune with our wombs. And as someone that takes people into past lives, I have a lot of sessions. I have men who come to me and women who come to me who were women in a past life, and they went through those times of being burned and nailed to the cross and all those things for being midwives, for being doulas, for being healers. And that's just a part of our history where man took over the medical field. It's not a conspiracy. Like for the first 100 years, a woman couldn't even be a doctor. She had to be a nurse. And there's a lot of the same way that in Black medical in the history of the medical field with Black people, there's a lot of trauma. Like there's a lot of sickness. There's a lot of like them thinking that we don't really go through pain, like we don't feel pain the same way. There's a lot of tools that have been created for us that we all use now, but they were originally created for Black people in the same exact way. And you can look this up. There are tools for women. The chainsaw is a really good example. Did you guys know that the chainsaw was invented to help women give birth? Do you guys think that that a woman would have invented a chainsaw Like it would kind of make sense that someone that never gives birth and is very disconnected from the experience would make a chainsaw to help you get through the pelvic bone. So there's a lot of our history in the medical field specifically that has a really big disconnection, because the ones who say how the procedures work, how a VBAC works, how just all types of things that you guys don't even think of because women are experiencing it, the procedures, like literally there's certain things like the vacuum procedure after a woman has a miscarriage or an abortion, for them, or like a DNC, for them to get the baby out. There's, for a very long time, the cervix was not numbed. The cervix, which is a part of your body that you can feel, the same way that they numb your gums if they're going to extract your tooth, you need your cervix to be numbed if they're going to open up. The cervix is a hole that's like this small. This is what our blood comes out of. This is what the baby comes out of. And when a woman is about to give birth, this is the dilation. It gets bigger and bigger. But when this cervix is whatever size, small or big, and it's going to be small because you just had a miscarriage or you had an abortion. And so when they do this procedure, for so many years, they literally just started numbing us, giving us anesthesia, because men are the doctors saying, well, that part of the body doesn't hurt, and it does. And so you have a long history, just like you do with Black people, of Black people being told that, oh, you're not really hurt, you okay, it's not really. You have a long history of that with women, like women dealing with that. And so that's that part, when you're kind of like assuming that I said that women don't, educate ourselves. And then if you're wondering why we have not been, that is the reason why. And that's the reason why feminist boys, feminist men are needed. On the other side, because I said that we're going to unpack this comment. So on the last part of your comment, when you said self about men, since you're raising boys, my boys could probably teach you a class about your prostate and about your body. My 12 and 18-year-old, and gonna one day be, because he's only 8 right now, could probably teach the men in this chat a class on what you should do with your prostate and how to take care of a man's body and the different things, like different issues that come up for Black men specifically. So don't assume that I'm not educating my boys about their bodies as well. Because why would I skip that? Like, why would I be a a homeopathic healer and help men and women with their bodies, and then not make sure that my boys know about their bodies? Of course, of course they know about their bodies. But again, they are not going to deal, and they have not dealt with half of the things that women, young girls, even compared to my daughter who's only 15, have dealt with and will deal with their bodies, because there's something that is different about that. And this is new information to you because the world has not acknowledged that. We all been raised under patriarchy. So even women don't realize how deep the birth experience is. My job, literally in my birth work, is to help even woke naturopathic women to realize that birth is life or death. You can't you can't meditate your way through a good birth. You can't yoga and sage your way to a good birth. It's very serious. So as a whole, as a collective, as a society, we are miseducated about the woman's body. And I'm closing up the breakdown of this comment here. Another, or I'll just say the last reason why, is because you came from a woman's body. And unless you are a gay man, you keep wanting to come inside of a woman's body. So the woman's body, this is what I said in the beginning of this chat, it has to do with everyone. the cycle that women go through, the 23 to 28 day cycle, literally matches the 23 to 28 day cycle, of the moon. A woman's body has a lot to do with you because you came from one, and because you like women, or maybe you don't. I don't know. So it's not you shouldn't feel like men are being left out. You shouldn't feel those ways. If you feel like that on these kind of topics, when nothing is happening to your body, there's no autonomy that's being told. No one's telling you that you have to have surgery when you're in a very vulnerable position, when you're 8-9 months pregnant. I don't think that this can't be a debate too. Like we can't also debate, like, God, like, geesh, men just that would be crazy, guys. Men and women serve different purposes in life. Who's saying that men serve the same purpose, or that women serve the same purpose? I don't even understand this. I don't even, this comment is, I'm talking about men taking over the medical field and being the reason why women don't know about our bodies, because shit, the whole world don't know about y'all's bodies. We don't even know how the brain works because of that. So I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I have no idea what you mean by that, because I didn't make a statement that said that, like, men don't have roles or women don't have roles or those kind of things. But I do think that if you guys are going to love women, and if you guys are going to make women, you should consider what I'm saying about women's bodies, about what our experience. Straight up Luciferian, can't even. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for coming in. I really appreciate y'all for staying on this live this long, for real. This was a great topic. Play it back, share it, talk about it, say good things, say bad things. It doesn't matter. Share however you feel. This is all divine, and I appreciate you guys. If you guys are interested in any MDR therapy, coaching, or reading, you can visit my website, earthisschool.com. That is earthisschool.com. And yeah, that's it. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Peace out. I'm going to try to come back on here tomorrow. But you see, I'm going to have to literally, like, live a nocturnal life, because the best time for me to go live is for my US audience, is this time, because y'all be, like, up late, which is low-key the morning time for us. It's crazy. But okay, you guys, peace out. Love you.